Okay.
All right, we're live on Facebook. He's running in, we'll take it there. So as soon as y'all are ready, let's go.
Okay.
Close your eyes, ready for
This is a First Alert Severe Weather Update.
Meteorologist John Robinson. You can see scattered thunderstorms. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Lubbock County currently, located just southwest of Lubbock. And you see the track on that east and a little bit northeast as well. Just south of Wolforth, we had some large, over one inch size hail as that storm is tracked through that region. So you can see the hail tracker indicated there. That is going to work its way along Highway 87. At this point, the hail is just south of the city of Lubbock, not in and around the loop at this point. We do have some smaller hail indicated out in this area, but once again, this is a severe thunderstorm currently in effect. We have some rotation with that. It could intensify. Hail size could get larger for the region, but right now it's right around an inch to an inch and a half. This particular storm moving slow east at about 18 miles an hour. Carrier put a tracker on that, and you'll see it work its way generally east into Lubbock as well as Posey and the community of Slayton between now and 5:49. So it's going to work its way through a large part of the southern and central areas of Lubbock County. It looks like right now the city, we're just getting some moderate, maybe some heavy rainfall. The hail core is back here in this southwest area. And you can see that south of Wolforth, and again moving to the east. We've got some photos on our main Facebook page. In addition to that, if you have any photos, please post them on that page. And the storm systems are beginning to pop up around the South Plains at this point. Part of this storm extends back to the Wolforth area. We have a severe thunderstorm in the Abernathy area along I-27, also in effect till 5:30 tonight. That is north of New Deal. Once again, we have some hail indicated, and it's going to be around 1 inch. In some cases, may even be a little bit larger than that. Got generally an east, maybe a slight northeast track with this storm north of 557, I believe that was, and east at 18 miles an hour. And so again, we may see some larger hail develop with this storm along the interstate north of New Deal, and then a few other storms up to our north as well. Keep in mind there is a thunderstorm watch in effect for most of the South Plains through the evening hours. The heating today, some instability, a weak dry line trying to push east. Thunderstorms may increase in coverage, especially once they get a little bit further east of Lubbock along the caprock. Another severe thunderstorm in the Olton area, just north of Olton. And again, you see indications this one likely has some larger hail associated with it. It is moving out of Lamb County into the northwest corner of Hale County. At least 1 inch size hail or a little bit larger there. And again, along Interstate 27, some moderate rainfall. This storm could track towards Plainview, so folks in Plainview, make sure you prepare for strong winds, heavy rainfall, but more importantly, the potential of some large hail, at least 1 inch in diameter. That is right now to the northwest of Halfway and southwest of Edmondson, headed for the community of Boone, so it's going to work its way generally east. And if it continues to do that, may see some large hail potential in the Plainview area, at least at this time. Carrie, you seeing anything different on these particular storms?
No, again, they're all just capable of producing large hail right now, tracking to the east 15 to 25 miles per hour. So the main risk will be large hail and the possibility for strong wind gusts. Those three warnings, those are the only three storms in our viewing area right now. There was some large hail being reported right now in the Wolforth area, and $half size, that's 1.25 inches diameter. Golf ball size may be possible in the Wolforth area according to some spotters in that region. And so there is potential for large hail on the south and southwest side of the city of Lubbock and Wolforth area in particular. So again, just examining that storm on the latest storm track scan, it does show the risk of large hail with this cell moving due east at 18 miles per hour last check. So Wolforth, southwest Lubbock, we'll put in a few street indications who might be impacted in the city. You could see this is coming into the Wolforth area, Farm to Market 1585 and 179 just south of Wolforth. That is where the largest hail size is showing up, and there have been some reports of hail up to the size, unconfirmed, of golf ball size. So we do know that the area from Wolforth to Woodrow, including areas around Lubbock Cooper High School in that area, could be dealing with some large hail in this thunderstorm. Getting closer, we can see 114th Street being impacted. Let's put it back on a live radar sweep here, and it shows again Slide Road and maybe south of 82nd where the risk of hail would be the largest, maybe even Frankfort, and extending over to Milwaukee in the southwest part of the city. Moving due east, If that continues in its motion, continues moving east, farm to market 1585 in Indiana. Anywhere from Slide, Quaker, Indiana to University could plan for some hail. You want to move your vehicles indoors, especially if you're in the University area, because you still have some time to get your vehicles moved in before the hail core reaches you. But again, the hail core is showing up now, at least on this sweep, is showing up between FM 1585 and farm to market 179.
Thanks, Kerry. We're going to go to a quick look at our tower cam, and then also we'll go to Weather 5 here in a minute, or we'll also go to Digipic, but I'll show you, this is a live view of that thunderstorm out to the southwest of Lubbock. Here's Loop 289, and there's your bridge going over Avenue Q, and obviously you can see Loop 289 here and the interstate here, so it's directly southwest of Lubbock, but it is moving generally east. If it should turn to the north, it'd be more of a danger, but as Kerry is mentioning there, and we're letting folks in southern Lubbock County, the south areas of the city of Lubbock, know that you need to be prepared. There could be some large hail with this storm as it tracks through that area. So it's a live view on our tower cam. Take a look if you would right now. Let's take a look at the Digipic. I want to say a word of thanks to Susan Robinson for sending in golf ball size hail reported earlier and sent that photo to our Facebook. So remember our main Facebook page. You can post those there. You can send videos and photos there, but you can also send those to weather@kcbd.com. You can post on my page or Carrie Allen's page right here. We'd certainly appreciate it as well. And we do have Adam Young up here helping us out as well in the background there. So we're watching these storms, see if they become any stronger. Keep in mind the thunderstorm watch currently in effect. And let's take a look now, if we can, at live view. We've got our storm chaser, Brian McMillan, out, and he's out around southwest Lubbock. See if I can figure out where he is there, but it looks like he's obviously going through a parking lot at this point, but he's out trying to get to where he can get a better view of this storm and stay out of the hail as well. So he is live chasing very close to Lubbock, so if you see anything developing out in that area, he will let us know immediately. And you can see some Mattis clouds with this storm indicating the turbulence, and also you can see a little virga there. That's where the precipitation is falling, evaporates before it gets to the ground. So the heavier rainfall really is south of Lubbock and southwest of Lubbock with the storm track at this point. Let's take a look at radar now as he changes positions there, and you will see again the warning in effect till 5:45. Heavy rain right here just along the Highway 62, and it looks like it's making its way east. Hopefully the hail core will stay just south of the city, at least the Loop 289 area south of that, and make its way along Highway 87. It is north of New Home at this point. Could see some additional development around the South Plains as far as severe weather. Currently, hail penny size, that's being reported by 3 miles east-northeast of Warford, and that's a National Weather Service employee. I'm reading off the chat line. We've got that where I can look at it, and Kerry and Adam as well. Farm to market 179 and farm to market 1585. And again, here's upland, and shows a wide path of hail. Most of that will be smaller size, but there'll be some pockets of very large hail within that. Right in this area, again, you will find that's where the hail will be scattered at this point. So it's not directly into the immediate core of the city of Lubbock, but it is just to our west and southwest. Kerry?
I will say that there's been a report of golf ball size hail 1585 and upland. That's where area I have it circled right now. Again, a report of golf balls falling in this area, southwest Lubbock. That's basically an area between 98th and 1585 in the southwest side of the city. Golf ball size hail falling in this area. You can see the street markers being indicated. I'll try to plot a few extra locations. There's 122nd Street, FM 1585. This is 114th. So basically around 114th Street over to 1585 and upland, there's golf ball size hail officially being reported from storm spotters in that area. So again, this is a large hail risk to the southwest side of the city of Lubbock. It is moving due east, so areas around Milwaukee in 1585, Slide in 1585, as well as Frankfort and all the way to Quaker and Indiana need to prepare for this hail size to continue moving off to the east. We also have pea-size hail now being reported 82nd and Indiana, so there's already hail falling over a good part of the south and southwest side, in the southern and southwest side of the city of Lubbock as we speak. Easterly movement on this storm, if it continues on that path, which it has done consistently for the last hour, that would put most of the south side of the city of Lubbock, south of the loop especially, in a higher risk of seeing large hail. Putting a tracker on there, Ransom Canyon, Woodrow, Woodrow's where Cooper High School is, 82nd, Woodrow Road and US 87. That would be an area that would be directly impacted. Posey and Slayton need to prepare in the next 15 to 20 minutes to see some potentially large hail in that vicinity as well. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning on this storm will continue through at least 5:45. I think we have also a First Bank and Trust camera view. That part of the city is where we're seeing some storms right now. I don't know if we can take that. But you can see, again, rain is already falling pretty heavily in the southwest side. I don't see any hail at that spot just yet. But that would certainly be an area where hail would be possible. So we're getting a new warning now. You got anything new on that, Adam?
Golf balls in Milwaukee in 89th.
Which is close to that area we had highlighted just a second ago. Milwaukee in 89th would be between 82nd and 1585. So again, a large hail risk, golf ball size hail is certainly possible. This just updated a new scan. We'll see how the large hail is up to 1.2 inches, but we know we've had golf balls already. This storm is moving due east now, picked up speed just slightly at 20 miles per hour. So again, this is going to put it into South Lubbock and extend towards Slayton eventually. So if you're in Slayton, you still have time to put your vehicles in. Anywhere east of 87, Highway 87, you need to prepare for this storm. It will move pretty quickly and arrive in your area within the next hour. Woodrow, Posey, Slayton, Acuff, South Lubbock, south of the Loop especially, and extending down to Farm to Market 1585. We don't want to forget the other parts. There are still warnings that continue for a storm up in Abernathy, although it has weakened quite a bit from what it was showing earlier. There was a warning on that cell. It's moving to the east at 15 miles per hour for those in Abernathy. Plainview, this is probably the largest hail we have in our viewing area, falling between Olton and Plainview. There is still a severe thunderstorm warning on this storm, may be reissued until 5:30. They may extend that further east to include the Plainview area, and with an easterly motion that would carry it into Plainview within the next half hour to an hour. So large hail from Edmondson Halfway, Cotton Center, Boone, Plainview, and even Hale Center need to keep an eye on that particular storm. Let's go back to our storm chaser. He's out on looks like 82nd Street or 98th, can't tell. But he's out there. It's Brian McMillan, our KCBD chaser, and he is that's actually near Slide Road. I recognize that area. Slide and 82nd. You're coming up to the intersection of Slide and 82nd. And again, we've got some rain falling there. I don't see any large hail. That's in the southwest part of the city. But folks driving in that area need to watch for hail because it's not too far to the south. If you go down to 98th, 114th, and FM 1585, there is large hail in that vicinity. So again, this is in south and southwest Lubbock. We are seeing some heavy rain at that intersection. That right there is Slide and 82nd. So no hail there, but I can see some water ponding on the roads. That's very typical. We've had another golf ball. The golf ball size hail report, 7400 block of 101st in Lubbock near Upland. Golf ball size reported there about 2 minutes ago, so there's still some golf balls falling in southwest Lubbock there. So golf ball size hail continues on that storm. We've had our second report of golf balls now, and a brand new warning has just come out as we expected for the storm near Plainview. This one has just been issued and includes Plainview. This is moving east at 20 miles per hour. Ping pong ball size hail in this storm. Plainview, Crest, Halfway, Claytonville, Sethward, and Edmondson. Sethward's basically an extension of Plainview. You need to watch out for large hail within that storm. This is showing up as a one small core, but still fairly large, in that storm, which is now between Olton and Plainview. Sounds like we're getting a little small hail here at the station.
Yeah, I'm going to go look here in a second, Kerry. One thing I want to point out to you, and you can explain if you want what this means, but if you look out east of us right now, you can kind of make out some gravity waves. That could be some enhancement in the next 45 minutes to an hour once these storms move a little bit closer to the caprock. So these are going to be something we're going to be dealing with here for the next couple of hours.
Okay, thank you, Adam. I think your mic's cutting out. You may get some batteries for that. But anyway, we do have what they call gravity waves showing up east of Lubbock, and those enhance thunderstorms sometimes. So as they get east of Lubbock, they may intensify. It's for those of you who are in Lockney, extending. I'm going to get a wide view so we see all of these storms at once. But again, let's come back out to wide view. It shows all of the storms in the overall motion. We've got P-size hail now, 154th, at least P, maybe slightly larger, 154th. and Indiana, and a severe thunderstorm warning for hail and Swisher now until 6 p.m. We've got 3 reports now of golf ball size hail in the city of Lubbock, most of that east of Wolforth and in the southwest side of the city. John, you have some new information?
I just want to take a look at that tower cam again since you've come to the Doppler there. Great job on that. Let's look at the live view here at News Channel 11. We haven't had a lot of rain yet. It is coming down. We're not getting any significant hail. We just had Adam go check outside. I do want to say a word of thanks. Susan Robinson passed that golf ball size photo to me, but she had gotten it from Abby Reckner, and it was west of 6282 and 1585, and that was about 30 minutes ago. So we appreciate both Abby and Susan for that. We're getting some more photos, and we're also getting videos on our main KCBD Facebook page, so please post those there. You can post them on my page as well and Carrie's page, and you can send those to weather@kcbd.com. We'll do our best to get them on the air. May not be able to get them on during the live event like this, but try to get them on later. They'll be on our Facebook page post, and we'll also have them on at the news later on tonight. But you can see the heavy rainfall. Again, Interstate 27 here. Here's South Loop 289. Rain is falling. We haven't had a lot yet. Now we're up to 0.02 of an inch. The heaviest rain obviously is in the southern part of the city of Lubbock. That unfortunately is where the largest hail is being reported at this point, but any information you've got on hail, we certainly appreciate that. You can post that on your Facebook page. You can email that to weather@kcbd.com or our main Facebook page as well. Don't forget about our KCBD First Alert weather app, trying to give you a lot of information so you can stay with us on air. But you can also follow us online and on our weather app, and you can track the radar, and you can look at what we're looking at, and you can move the radar around, especially if you're in a surrounding community. We're not forgetting you guys in Plainview and other areas. Obviously, we have such a large population with a large hail confirmed here. We're staying around Lubbock County and the city of Lubbock, but we will go north here in a few minutes. But there again, we'll do an update. You have something new there, Carrie? You look like you did. If not, we'll continue to go on, and if not.
They did update the Lubbock warning, and they're putting basically the entire west and southwest side of the city of Lubbock in a risk for large hail, because if you look on the back edge of this storm as well, in the areas around Reese, there are some signs of hail showing up on the back edge as well. So now that may move into more of the entire city if that continues to increase. We're seeing 2 hail zones now. Right now, that path would carry it to the east, would impact the majority of the southern and western half of the city of Lubbock at least, maybe not so much the north side yet, but they've extended that warning, actually continued it until 5:45, golf ball to maybe 2-inch diameter hail. There's also pea-size hail showing up at the National Weather Service office at the Science Spectrum, and we also have the National Weather Service is putting out an alert for the large hail threat for the entire western part of the city of Lubbock right now. So you can see that hail core showing up right in there. We'll put a storm tracker on that now. It has moved up a little bit. We have on this scan, this is a new update, still showing 1-inch diameter hail, but the closer to the radar site you get, sometimes the estimates are skewed a little bit, so it's probably a little bit larger.
Carrie?
Go ahead and I'll tell our director just oddly. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. This came to us from Kathy Markham at part of the city.
Okay, thanks, Adam. I want to update folks. Brian, our chaser there, McMillan says 179 Woodrow Road, been high base type thunderstorms there. The storm appears to be splitting, but doesn't appear to be anything extremely serious, but you can see him chasing in that particular area, trying his best to stay out of the hail so far. But again, this is a live view from our storm chaser Brian out, and you can see the heavy rainfall falling in that area, and he's generally around 179 Woodrow Road. At least he sent me this text at about 10 minutes ago, so he's in that general area, and obviously we're going to lose the signal some with that heavy rain coming down, but overall you still see that severe storm. It has tracked a little bit north around Indiana and 82nd, where we had the dime size hail, getting reports now of larger size there. No confirmation or no indication of the size, but it is getting larger, unfortunately, along South Loop 289, around Indiana, around 82nd, further south, even larger than that, all the way back to around Spur 327 in the South Plains Mall area. Looks like there may be a large area of hail here just northwest of Wolforth, and that has just developed. And this storm is moving very slowly. That means you're going to have some flooding of street intersections and low-lying areas that typically flood, so be aware of that, especially along the areas of Slide Road all the way back out towards the Wolforth area. And here's indications where the hail is getting a little larger now. Farmer Market 179. Here is the Wolforth area, and again, That is going to be tracking generally east, unfortunately, towards southwest Lubbock, Slide Road, 34th Street, all of this region back to 82nd Street. That's where you're going to find that storm moving in. You can still some overall rotation with the storm, but not tornadic at this point. Just enough of that elevation there. It's allowing the hailstones to get large, unfortunately, as they develop and makes its way into south and southwest Lubbock. There's rain all the way up now to North Loop 289 out towards the airport at the radar site there. Back to the Carlisle community and along Highway 114 as well. But any photos you've got, any information, we appreciate that. Weather at KCBD.com and also our main Facebook page. Let's see, southwest Lubbock looks like along University, maybe pea-size hail there. And at the side spectrum, getting pea-size hail there, South Loop 289. And that was all within the last 5 minutes. And again, we have severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Lubbock till 5:45 at this point. Carrie or Adam?
Yeah, one thing I want to point out, and you know, when we talk about these thunderstorms, we always talk about, oh, we need the heating of the day, oh, we need something like that. Well, one thing that we actually look at is satellite imagery, and we actually look for cloud tops to start cooling more than anything else, because that's telling us that storm's updraft is going up and up and up, and then tops of those clouds are cooling down as it gets in the atmosphere. That is happening right now over top of the city of Lubbock with these storms. Those cloud tops are continuing to cool. I expect the hail size to actually increase here the next little bit.
Well, that's not good news at all there. Carrie, did you have something? I saw you put your hand.
Hear hail falling
we
here,
can hear it here
at News Channel 11. It sounds pretty small right now, but nonetheless, even in the south and southeast part of the city, you get closer to the radar site. The radar site is actually at the airport. It has a tendency to maybe decrease the intensity of the rain a little bit as it's moving over the city, but I can hear some small hail at least falling in at our studios here, and the larger hail core has shifted, as Adam mentioned, to Wolforth area. There's still a risk of large hail in that storm, mainly south side of the city, but with that new area forming northwest of Wolforth, the entire west half and central half of the city, including Texas Tech, and including a large area of the business district in the south and central part of the city, as well as the south and southwest side of the city, will be impacted by large hail potentially, as that storm has intensified in terms of each scan almost over the last 10 minutes or so. I don't see anything that shows tornadic activity, so we're not concerned about that, at least right now. Doesn't mean something couldn't happen, but I'm looking at that and I don't see any concern there. It's just the hail and the fact that we also have strong winds. We actually have two separate warnings, just so you know. One for the north side to account for that storm near Reese Center, and we have another severe thunderstorm warning for the south side. There are two separate warnings, so but they both expire at 5:45. Well, the way they're going will probably be extended. So if you live in the entire city of Lubbock, we'll just go ahead and say that we all have the potential to see hail across the entire city of Lubbock. So if your car's in a garage, keep it there. If you're heading outdoors, pea-size, Adam just went and checked here at the station, so it's not large here, but the largest hail is on the west side. So if you're in the entire city, you had plans maybe at 6 or 7, I'd hold off, let the storm pass through the area. You might end up getting some hail damage on your vehicle if you decide to get on the streets. Plus, this rain is heavy enough, I think we could also see some localized flooding in there as well.
That's right, Gary. And let's take a look. I know that we've got Adam over there on Weather 5, and we can show from our tower cam what is going on and swinging it around. And again, you can see the heavier rainfall. It increases as you go to the south, and this is a core area where the hail has been the largest so far. And again, you can see intense rainfall occurring there. Here at News Channel 11, we've been on the light side of the heavy rain. Unfortunately, only 0.05 of an inch so far, but our temperature has fallen to 69 degrees. Very cool out there. Here again, Highway 87, the interstate, and South Loop 289, position of where we are here at News Channel 11. And again, you can see the intense lightning with this storm as well. And for folks in the surrounding communities, when you hear that thunder, especially if you see that lightning, you need to be getting indoors, not a metal building, but get inside a house, get inside a vehicle. That way you can stay safe. And once again, be aware of the fact there's going to be flooding of low-lying areas. Street intersections here in the city of Lubbock could be fairly widespread. Let's take a look at the Doppler, Carrie, and can we go back north just for a minute? I want our folks up north to make sure that they know what's going on in their area. And don't forget about our KCBD First Alert weather app. Moderate shower in the Abernathy area between Plainview and Crest. A couple of thunderstorms very strong there, maybe near Edmondson. There may be some hail in each one of these, but right now most of these storms are producing probably pea to dime size hail. Unfortunately, a few of the storms, like the one over Lubbock, is producing much larger hail, at least 1 inch or larger in diameter, and they all have got that lift. And you can see some hail cores here south of 194 and east of Crest. Of course, those are moving out of our viewing area at this point, so this is close to 1 inch in diameter and about a half an inch or a little bit larger with the one there. But it looks like nothing around Plainview. I was concerned that this storm might be impacting Plainview. And if we expand out, Carrie, I don't know of any other strong storms going on at this point. There is a thunderstorm watch in effect for all of the South Plains. So really it's the part that's over Lubbock right now and northwest of Plainview. So we're going to keep our focus here now. Just wanted to make sure folks around the northern South Plains knew that we're also watching your areas. That storm at Abernathy weakening at this point. And again, a couple of warnings basically covers the city of Lubbock and the central and southern areas of Lubbock County. Severe thunderstorm warnings, not tornadic warnings. And fortunately, the thunderstorm warning now has been canceled for Hale County and for Lamb County. It's moving out of Lamb County, but that storm has decreased in intensity. Hail size, we just showed you a few minutes ago, below 1 inch, so good news for that. But again, severe thunderstorms over Lubbock, and we've actually got core of one north and another one just to the south, and this activity continues to move on to the northeast at this point. So overall, we're watching this thunderstorm over Lubbock. We can zoom in just a little bit if you want to, Carrie. You must have something new.
Yeah, well, the cancel part of it is for Lamb. I believe they are going to keep Hale
Oh, they're
County
going to keep Hale?
still
Okay.
under a warning until 6 p.m. North and south, all of the city of Lubbock until 5:45. We got a live shot in our back parking lot here. Case doing a good job. We're all
yeah,
working up here
outside.
tonight.
Heavy rainfall.
Case Wilbanks is out there. He's got a live shot. There's a patio and a covered area where he's safe. We just have rain, but you can see it is raining pretty heavily here at News Channel 11. And we did have some pea-size hail just a few minutes ago. We had some reports also, viewers with DirecTV lost their service, so they were watching on Facebook, and appreciate the efforts. We certainly appreciate you guys with the compliments too in that area. We've had several reports even of large hail on the west side of the city again, and some pictures of at least pea-size in the 5,000 block of 40th Street. So we know Lubbock is still getting some hail reported in the city right now as we speak, even though the station not getting the largest part of that storm right now. The updated scans on that, ping pong ball size hail, still a risk for Plainview. So if you're in Plainview, we've got Lubbock, of course. We've actually got our two biggest population centers being impacted by large hail. The only two storms that are in the entire South Plains viewing area are covering Plainview and Lubbock. So those two storms have the potential to produce hail damage in both of our largest communities, including Plainview and also including the Texas Tech area for those in the Lubbock area, Wayland Baptist up in Plainview. Large hail is possible in all of these cells. Both of them are moving east at about 20 miles per hour. For the Plainview, that puts Crest, Plainview, Cereal, and Lockney in the path. And for those in the Lubbock area, with an eastward movement at 20 miles per hour, would impact the city of Lubbock, Posey, Idalou, Slayton, Lorenzo, Robertson, Savage, and also with the hail risk falling on the west side, still impacting Wolforth and the Texas Tech campus as well. And we got a news director, David Williams, is up here. Our promotions director, Lindsay Metter. Golf ball size hail, 130th in Indiana. That's right now. So again, large hail still a risk for the entire city of Lubbock at this point. Would not get out and drive anywhere if you're at home. Severe thunderstorm warning. You run the risk of dinging your car up pretty bad if you do. These are confirmed golf balls, not radar estimated anymore. So we know that areas especially south of Lubbock and west of Lubbock have potential to see that large hail, although the west side seemed to trend down slightly in the last scan. Adam?
Yeah, two things. First of all, you mentioned that the west side trending down. The south side right now is really trending up, and that core right now is going to be heading. Hold on 1 second. Somehow that got turned off. Probably when I was running outside to go check the hail. But the south side of that right now is really starting to ramp up, and that core is going to be heading toward Wilson. So that's going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on for those folks in Wilson. One thing I want to point out, John, especially after the events of last night and the dramatic video, if you watched our coverage on the tower cam and everything else, if we could actually, kind of lost it in the last few minutes, but I'm going to take a look at our First Bank and Trust Skycam. We're actually seeing some lowerings out of these clouds, but this is something that we're not really seeing any kind of turning on. We're not really kind of seeing any kind of turning in the low levels, just kind of broad. We're not really talking about tornado risk at the very moment, but at least here in the city of Lubbock. Now, we do got something that's just coming across so that we're going to have to watch out for in Lynn County, that this is going to be something I'm worried about as we storms will start to approach the caprock here over the next hour. And I'll let Carrie tell you what we're looking at here.
Okay, and John's over there too. We're gonna mention that the Weather Service, that area of large hail that is showing up in southern Lubbock County and northern Lynn County, there's some indication there that they're getting a little bit of rotation. It's becoming more favorable to see kind of what we saw last night, where we have brief touchdowns, and it runs into deeper moisture, and you also have natural lift at the level of the caprock. So when the caprock's about a 900-foot drop, and you have a southeast wind that causes the storms to intensify, and the actual severe risks are higher east of us if these storms survive, in which this one will likely do once it moves east of Slayton. So a large hail risk, but also a little bit of a signature in northeast Lynn County there of getting some rotation in there. I don't see anything. I'll look at velocity because we haven't looked at that in a little while, but I don't see anything that is concerning at the moment, but something to watch.
When you look there, what I'm seeing mostly on the signature there on the southern side there is that maybe as it's starting to drop its hail core, because it's got a really large hail core, and as that descends and starts to come down toward the ground, it's going to push out a lot of wind. Now we have what we call that signature that we look for in kind of the mid-levels of a storm. That's, you know, we're waiting to see kind of ground truth as far as any kind of rotation on it, but I'm thinking right now velocity is what we're more seeing is more the outflow winds coming from the hail core descending to the ground, which once again does not bode well for folks in Wilson. You've got to probably have some very large hail heading your way.
Right, Kerry, yeah, again, thanks for that update there. Thanks, Adam. And this storm is swinging a little more southeast at about 22 miles an hour. Obviously over 2-inch in diameter size hail on there, and it looks like the local storm report west-northwest of Woodrow, they got $half size hail. That's at least 1.25 inches there. Also in Lubbock, National Weather Service employee reporting hail quarter size, and again, that is going to be 3 miles west of Woodrow, so it's a similar area. Again, generally southwest Lubbock, especially southwest Lubbock County and northern Lynn County, that's where the largest hail is occurring. You can see the rotation with this storm. Farm to Market Road 1730 is your back part of that storm, and again along Highway 87 and Farm to Market Road 41. So again, for you folks in that area, if you haven't gotten your cars in, you should, and if you got other items you're concerned about, you need to bring those in. This storm is dumping a lot of rainfall, by the way, so we'll continue that reminder of the flooding of low-lying areas in and around the city of Lubbock, streets and intersections, especially the southern part of the city. But the heavy rain out on these farm to market roads will cause some travel issues later on this evening. Biggest concern is the large hail. We're getting some hail here at News Channel 11, but it's hard to tell what size. We'll check on that in a few minutes. Our roof is very sensitive and it sounds quite large outside, but we got a live view here. Let's step out and look. Oh yeah, we can see there in our camera outside, and you can see that falling. On our roof, it sounds like it would be quarter size, but fortunately it's not.
Size right now.
Sure, looks like it. Maybe dime size out of that.
Which is the largest we've had here so far today, at least here at the station.
Yeah, it is. And we're getting some 1-inch size reported around 98th and University, and that was at about 3 minutes ago. And let's see here, out further south, obviously those reports we gave you a little bit earlier about the thunderstorms out in that region. So once again, you see our live view. This is our parking lot on the north side of the station. Maybe P to dime size hail. It's pretty common with the storm in the central areas of Lubbock, but the much stronger hail obviously falling to our west and southwest. And as we look at our tower cam, let's take a quick look at that. We've got something printing once again to show the heavy rainfall here. You can begin to see a little bit of a break out in the south and southwest part of the city and the southwest part of Lubbock County in general, but the storm is still impacting the city of Lubbock. This is the heaviest rain, the largest hail, really. You get close to Highway 87, both to the west and the east of that, all the way down to northern Lynn County. And let's see what we got here. Larger than pea size, but smaller than dime size, falling out around 74th and University in that general area, along University just south of South Loop 289. So the hail size there is not a major problem at this point. That would be right in this region here. And the same thing right here at News Channel 11. So again, that storm is tracking a little bit to the east-southeast. If you watch, you'll actually see the hail occasionally in our tower cam view here falling as it comes from this storm. A little hard to see at times, but we have seen that. There's some again. So it's not a continuous pattern of hail coming down, but it is coming down, generally pea, maybe dime size, rainfall as well. The rainfall told them out here at News Channel 11, only about 0.13 of an inch so far. Heavy rain still falling along Highway 87. There's likely some large hail right here just along Highway 87, just in the extreme southern areas of Lubbock County, northern Lynn County, and the storm unfortunately is edging its way down to the southeast at about 20 to 25 miles an hour, and our concern would be the Wilson area, and the storm is moving towards Slayton as well, so a broad area of where that storm could cause some damage with the hail, and you can again see how it expanded out, covered most of the city of Lubbock. We must have more hail coming down. It sounds fairly large here. Let's go back to the outside shot, and you can see it is becoming a little more coverage here, at least out in our parking lot there, Adam.
Yeah, and another picture coming in. Everybody's going to recognize this name. Abner sent this in from 1585.
All right.
To get some good size hail, if you take weather 4, there's a good picture there.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah, the difference there. So, unfortunately, out there at Abner's location, and all you folks out in southwest Lubbock, we know it's been at least quarter size, even larger. We're getting quite a bit of the hail here. Fortunately, so far, staying the small size, pea to dime size, but obviously we can see outside, so if anything changes there, we'll tell you about that. And this storm is moving Buffalo Springs, Ransom Canyon area. This is the core here, and you can see some larger hail right in the middle of that, at least 1.5 inches, maybe approaching 2 inches, some areas around the city of Lubbock, and then that is approaching the Slayton area. So it's really a broad area of hail reaching right up to News Channel 11 here, the downtown areas of Lubbock possibly as well, but it is improving out in the south and southwest. Still some heavy rain, a little hail south of Wolford, moving east at about 19 miles an hour. So the storm's kind of varying, going to the east or southeast at this point, staying just north of Wilson. We're concerned earlier that it was going to swing southeast. If it continues east now, that means the hail may stay literally along the Lubbock and Lynn County line. So if you live in that area, you need to be taking precautions with your vehicles and other items if you can get them inside. Otherwise, make sure you stay inside and keep us on again. And nothing tornadic with this. We did see a couple of signatures. We were talking about it a few minutes ago with both Adam and Carrie. So we're continuing to watch for that. The biggest issue right now is the hail and the hail size, especially in the areas of southwest of Lubbock, all the way down just along the Lubbock and Lynn County line. See that system now slowly edging into the Slayton area, also moving into the western areas of Crosby County, approaching Highway 207, moving north of Wilson and edging back to the south. It looks like it may be creating a little bit of an outflow boundary. Some gusty winds on the backside of that system as it makes its way from the New Homa area. And we're getting, let's see here, dime-size hail, new core south of Wolford. And
we've been watching this core here for the last few minutes, John. It's really starting to get up there, and I think dime-size hail is just beginning. So this just keeps training over the southern parts of the metro area right now.
So a lot of hail and a lot of large hail within that boundary, and you can see Highway 87 there, but you can see the hail extends all the way back to the Ropesville area along with the rainfall. I was trying to get a location on that quarter-size hail, 41st and Slide here in the city, and that was about 5:22, about 6 minutes ago. And let me see, South Plains Storm Spotting Team reported that, and again, looks like reports southeast of Wolford. They got a Twitter picture of golf ball size hail near the Corpus Avenue and 18th Street in Wolford there. So that's pretty specific on that report there, Gary. But again, you can see it looks like the heavier rain may be exiting west and southwest Lubbock. Still some moderate rain coming down close to the mall. Looks like along Highway 114, so the west and southwest areas. Heaviest rain continues south of Lubbock. That is headed for the Slayton area. Unfortunately, the largest hail is tracking in that general area, and it looks like the storm up here still staying slowly to the north of Plainview. If it veers any further south or southeast, then it will be an issue in that community, but shower and thunderstorm activity there. There's a thunderstorm warning in effect there for about a 30 more minute period until 6 p.m. Rain extending up to the Cress area, south of Tuia. A new thunderstorm developing near the Silverton area, by the way. And so if any of you folks around Turkey, particularly around Caprock Canyon State Park, if you're out in that area still on this Sunday evening, you want to be making preparations for some storms headed your way, because this activity will likely track to the east, maybe even southeast into parts of Briscoe County and eventually into Hall County if the storm holds together. Strongest storm right here just south of Lubbock. We got a few light showers popping up in Dawson County and in Lynn County, and then the scattered showers, a few popping up around Petersburg, areas around New Deal, and back up close to Hale Center as well. But this again continues to be the heaviest storm. So, Carrie, anything new? Adam, I looked up. I thought you both had new stuff. You looked at me.
I don't see anything new other than the fact that there's still large hail risk between Wolforth and the Cooper High School area. The cell near Wolforth is actually a little bit more of a northeast movement. We can look at tower cam real quick. We have it zoomed in on that location, that particular storm. That's the one near Wolforth. And you could see again that we have some pretty good rain falling out of that. And there has been hail reported in that storm. Then we kind of pan around and you can see this is the actual severe portion of the storm that is south of Lubbock near Cooper High School, basically, 87 and Woodrow Road area. Dark skies to the south of Lubbock, and the hail is stopped here at KCBD for the time being, and that is moving to the east, if not a little bit more southeast now, and that's typical. It might become what we call a right mover, so that severe portion of the storm will continue moving towards Slayton and Southland. And then out west, that again is the storm that we're watching with interest because it is moving a little bit more to the northeast and could affect the same area that got hit earlier, which would be the southwest side of the city of Lubbock. So there's another opportunity for hail, even though that core near Reese Center has decreased markedly. We do see that uptick in the Wolforth area, and the fact that it's moving a little more northeast means areas around Upland and Milwaukee, 82nd, 98th, and Frankfort over to Slide may see another round of hail if that continues to increase. And our storm chaser is also in South Lubbock. He's
Just mentioned he had to get under shelter
okay.
to get out of the hail earlier. And I also want to mention severe thunderstorm warning may be coming out for southern Lubbock and northern Lynn counties.
And he's on 82nd near Memphis, so I can kind of looks like that general area anyway. Looks, well, yeah, 82nd is Slide. That's where he is. But we could see that's near the junior high there. Irons, I believe. Is that 82nd Slide? Irons. So yeah, that's near Slide Road and 82nd Street. There's some flooding on the road there. They had some heavier rainfall amounts, and I will mention too, just precipitation-wise, we have had enough precipitation to cause some problems. I'll go ahead and do a scan. I know it may be hail contaminated slightly, but these are precipitation estimates based on Doppler radar, and some areas south and east of Wolforth may have had over 2 to 3 inches of rain. On the south side of the city, up to an inch. That usually results in flooding and ponding of area roadways. That is another risk that may be impacting south and southwest part of the city of Lubbock. Adam?
Okay, and so let's go back over to reflectivity, if you don't mind. So the southern edge, the storm right now that's riding the Lubbock-Lynn County line there north of Wolforth. What we look at for hail to see it kind of going up is actually going down, which tells me it's dropping big hail once again out of that storm there north of Wilson, north of New Home. You might be seeing some of the hail in those communities also. While that's going down, that storm kind of right on the southern edges of Wolforth, that is continuing to go up, and if it continues moving up the highway like that, that will impact the Lubbock City proper once again here over the next probably 10-15 minutes. So we're going to have to watch out for that as well.
It looks like it's gone up quite a bit in the last scan or two east of Wolforth. The same area we mentioned before, Milwaukee, Upland, 82nd, 98th, all that area in south and west Lubbock. You may get another round of hail, or you may be getting it already. So again, post to Facebook if you have pictures. Don't get out there if it's not safe. We don't want that. But if you do have weather photos of any kind, you can upload them by using your free KCBD weather app. We encourage you to download it. This is severe weather season, and it usually gets busy the month of May through June. So now is a great time to download that and keep track of storms wherever you are. Go to the App Store, search KCBD Weather. It's absolutely free. Also, a lot of resources on our webpage at kcbd.com/weather. You can upload photos there and email them weather@kcbd.com. Those are all your avenues. We do have obviously some large hail now showing up towards Wolforth. I don't see any official report of anything new, except, well, actually we do. We have a new report on Indiana between 1585 and Woodrow. Quarter-size hail has been reported there. A new severe thunderstorm warning coming for southern Lubbock County, northern Lynn. That's one that we've been watching. You can see the large hail core still there, and as Adam mentioned, maybe dropping large hail right now as we speak. And that storm near Wolforth is in the process of going through that stage. We have a 68th and Gary Avenue in Lubbock. Hail of quarter size. That actually fell in the last 5 minutes. 3 miles west of Woodrow, National Weather Service employee said he gets hail, then it stops, comes back, maximum size 1.5 inches. That's close to golf ball, flattened stones, he calls it, and never more than 10 to 20% coverage of his yard. That's pretty specific. Largest round stones about 1.25 inches diameter, so a little bit under golf ball size. That's the National Weather Service and employee John Lipe, who is involved in the Texas Tech Mesonet sites. So that's what we have there. Those are the newest updates that I have, John. Also, we do want to mention, just from a forecast perspective, even though we only have 2 severe storms in our entire viewing area, both of them impacting some population centers, Lubbock and Plainview, the areas shaded in yellow are still under a risk of storms throughout the evening, and that includes a large part of the viewing area, especially east of Lubbock, in Lamesa, Tahoka, Post, Gale, Snyder, all the way to Spur and Dickens, Jayton, and Matador. As the storms move into deeper moisture, it's possible they will increase significantly and then rapidly move to the east this evening, out of our viewing area, hopefully. And then tomorrow we do it again. So that's what we have there. John?
Have anything, Adam, or you just parked?
Just kind of expand on what Carrie's talking about here, and before we end up with this next core moving over top of the city, on the wide look for radar, we are looking at storms up to the north, up to the Hereford area that is going to be trying to turn right, come down into our area here over the next hour or so. There's also a storm down toward Andrews that we're going to have to watch out for Gaines County here over the course of the next hour as well. So very active night of severe weather continuing to shape up.
All right, thanks there. We're going to take a look at the Doppler one more time here. We're going to return to the nightly news here in just a few minutes. We just want to give you a brief update. A couple of showers forming north of Lamesa, south of O'Donnell. Those may intensify. They're not severe at this point. Severe thunderstorm over Lubbock, and again, we may be getting some larger hail out in the southwest part of the city. We're watching that closely, and again, you can see the warnings cover most of the city all the way down to the Wilson community, tracking east-southeast about 25 miles an hour on the average towards Southland, Slayton, Ransom Canyon, and Caprock, and again, that'll continue to make its way east-southeast. There may be some additional reports of large hail going on in our area, and Brian McMillan down in this storm area is watching, but no current reports from him. He had to take shelter from the large hail a little bit earlier, but again, watching all the storm activity down in this region. What we'll do now is go back to the NBC Nightly News. We'll join that, but obviously we're going to continue to update you. And a quick reminder again, severe thunderstorm just in the parts of the city of Plainview. Looks like maybe some larger hail in that area, especially northwest of Plainview. Plainview, that is headed towards Cereal and Lockney based on generally an east-southeastward track. We're averaging about 20-25 miles an hour on the movement of that. I do want to mention quarter-size hail now at Milwaukee and 89. That's an off-duty National Weather Service person, and then quarter-size hail reported at 82nd in Chicago. So instead of going back to nightly, we're going to continue with this now that we've got more hail moving back into southwest Lubbock. It appeared the storm is going to skirt out of the area, so since we're getting new hail reports, we will stay with it. But as soon as we can, we'll go to nightly news. Getting a little outflow here from this storm complex moving into Terry County, Hockley County. That could result in some additional storm development back to our southwest. It hasn't yet. And a reminder, again, we still have a thunderstorm watch in effect for a large part of the South Plains, so additional storms are likely, especially as these individual cells move on to the east. They may intensify, or they may lead to development of additional storm activity along and off of that caprock where moisture levels, a little more instability, a little more moisture as well. The shower in the Abernathy area has weakened, but heavy rain in Slayton. Please continue to post those pictures. We certainly appreciate it to our main Facebook page, my Facebook page, or Carrie Allen's Facebook page. In addition to that, you can send those to weather@kcbd.com. Be sure you check in our KCBD weather app. If you don't have that, download it. It's free. You can watch the radars the same time we do, or when we're discussing other areas related to the storm, you can check in on the radar and the latest warning updates as well. Adam?
Yeah, First Bank and Trust Skycam, if we can go to that. I kind of got it aimed at the roof. Not the greatest picture, but hey, you get to see the hail falling right now. That looks to be about dimes. Now that's at about 98th and Slide. And in addition to that, we're getting quarter-size reports at 82nd Chicago, quarter-size Milwaukee and 89th. So good hail core moving to over the southern part of the city right now. In fact, it sounds like a good one moving over top of the station right now, Carrie.
Can't tell if it's rain or not. Look at our tower cam. We'll go outside again and look, and we'll zoom around just to kind of see Adams' work. Oh yeah, there's a lot. Let's go to Case. Case has got a good shot. We're getting pea-size hail again falling here at KCBD, just like we did earlier, a little more intense than what we had the first round. This is going to continue for the next hour, I think. At least this next round that's coming into southwest Lubbock's larger there with quarters now being reported 3 miles east of Wolfforth, Quarter-size hail, as you mentioned, at Milwaukee now an 89th by an off-duty National Weather Service, and 82nd in Chicago area. My dog Radar is getting it. We got some hail in that vicinity of the city of Lubbock. So if you're on the southwest side of the city and extending into the southern half of the city right now, we're getting reports of quarter-size hail large enough to cause some damage to the trees and also to your rooftop. We're getting a new scan too. That's Tower Cam looking southwest on the Wolfforth storm. You can see it's basically in the southwest part of the city of Lubbock and the city limits, moving east pretty quick. It's going to be a quick round of hail, but large enough to cause some roof damage. And a lot of folks already replaced their roofs from our wind events earlier. Our storm chaser, Brian McMillan, is out there. I know we're using a lot of sources, but we can take a look. It looks like he's trying to get in position there to get out of the storm's path. He's in southwest Lubbock there in a parking lot trying to seek shelter from some of the hail, but it looks like he's going to get back out. Same general vicinity there, it looks like, I want to say that's 82nd and Slide area still, or Frankfurt, one or the other. I think that's Frankfurt.
For that United right
Frankfurt
down there,
82nd.
82nd and Frankfurt.
So that's actually an area that will see potential for hail. Excuse me. That is all moving to the east at about 20 miles per hour. Come back to radar. I'm going to put a hail tracker on it. Hail zone usually is not showing exactly where it's hailing now, but also an indication of where it might hail in the next 10 minutes or so. And that includes the entire southwest part of the city of Lubbock, and also in the yellow shades where it's larger, between Lubbock and Tahoka, between Wilson and New Home, in that area. All I can use as an identifier is Pocolambro. That's an area there, building and marker that a lot of folks know about in that region. There's some large hail falling close to that building and facility in South Lubbock County and northern Lynn County. Again, a pretty rapid eastward movement at 20 miles per hour. Again, it's the only storm that we're watching of significance is the Lubbock one, and also the storm up to the north. The Abernathy storm is completely dissipated, although some rain around Petersburg, not severe. Plainview storm has weakened considerably over the last few scans on its hail tracker, so in the next 15 minutes that warning may be allowed to expire. That storm has weakened a lot. So really, right now, just looking at hail tracker for our entire viewing area, we pop back up to our regional view. The only storm that is actually looks severe on radar is south of Lubbock, and that is the only game in town, but nonetheless it's affecting a large population center at the moment. We've got flooded roadways. Go back to Brian McMillan, South Lubbock, Milwaukee. That's Milwaukee and 82nd. I recognize that area. That is an area historically that floods. We see a lot of flooding in that area at 82nd and Milwaukee in southwest Lubbock. And go look on our Brian McMillan's weather feed, our live storm chaser, live view. I believe we can pop that up. If not, we have a report too of an unconfirmed. Is that anything?
It's unconfirmed at this point. We'll keep an eye on that here.
There was a report of a wall cloud in that area,
and that could also be sometimes in a situation like this. Sometimes you'll see some land spouts too. So we'll keep an eye on that. Hey, also great video pictures coming in. This one coming in from Scott and Nancy. This is just a few minutes ago at 82nd and Frankfurt, right where our storm chaser was here just a minute ago. So one thing that we're seeing, Carrie, not only are we seeing large hail with this, we're seeing copious amounts of small hail too, which makes it really loud and kind of scary too, but we got to worry about that mixed in with the small hail, big hail mixed in with the small hail here at this point.
I want to go to Brian McMillan's feed. I still think that intersection is going to be flooded when he makes a turn. He's at the red light, 82nd in Milwaukee. That area is, again, a hot spot prone to flooding. He's going south towards 98th near Milwaukee. You notice water will cover the road here when he goes through that. That is a traditionally flooded area. Know that area well. And it traditionally stays flooded long after the event is over. He's on the back edge of the storm that's impacting Lubbock. The good news about where he's at, and just based on what I see, I know it's frozen. He's getting heavy rain. We'll give it a second to respond, pardon me. But that means that the southwest side is starting to, excuse me, I'll clear my voice here a second. That back edge is starting to move out of the city, and in that part of the city you should see improving conditions. One thing I see is a flag, and that's showing an outflow wind going to out of the southeast. So That means that we're seeing an outflow boundary pushing through the southern half of the city of Lubbock. Still some heavy rain and flooding over that part of the city as well. So, John, I'm going to let you head up to the wall and give my voice a little break. Oh, he's getting some batteries. Adam, you have anything new to report?
Yeah, I
want
want to talk about this here real quick. As far as what we've been seeing on velocities and everything else, we were talking a few minutes ago about maybe something out toward the Wilson area. As that hail core starts to descend, this is the colors of the winds coming to and from the radar. That's what the reds and greens mean. Since we're seeing kind of that difference in direction, that's what we're seeing now. As that hail core comes down, it's going to push out those winds. So very strong winds right now, right along the Highway 87, right into the Wilson area. And then we start to look back into here, and that could be somewhere where we're maybe seeing a little bit of turning in the atmosphere. This is starting to get a little closer to the caprock. These storms come in, and even though it's still, about 10 miles or so away from the caprock at this point, that's close enough that we're starting to feel that elevation change. So that's going to be something to watch out for here over the next little bit. And looking right there on radar, Carrie, I mean, we're starting to see that appendage on there, so that's going to be something to watch out for as it gets ready to cross Highway 87.
And there is a mention, at least, of the risk of an isolated tornado this evening, much like last night. It got going about 6 o'clock. So this is the time, traditionally, that the storms would be at their strongest as they're moving into deeper moisture, and you've got the natural lift of the caprock. The caprock is the big drop that you notice if you're driving towards Post. You drop about 1,000 feet in elevation. That is what we call the caprock. And it's a natural area of lift. Thunderstorms have a tendency to intensify when they're moving east into that favorable environment, and that's why that storm has the best potential to impact Post. We're giving you a long heads up, but Post, that storm is probably going to survive long enough to impact Post area. And we're seeing that appendage coming out there in Lynn County north of Tahoka, as the Weather Service has been mentioning throughout the afternoon and evening. John, anything you'd like to add here?
Yeah, got the batteries back in there and operating. And again, here's a look at our tower cam, and we got Adam zooming out on that. Heavy rainfall here at the station. We're up to about 1/4 of an inch, so we've really got more rain out of this second storm than we did the first one. Heavy rain there, maybe some hail within that. If it is, it's going to be very small, at least at this point. But look at the intense rainfall along Highway 87 there. Very little visibility indicated there, so if you have to travel, just be aware of that, traveling during the next hour, especially south and southwest of Lubbock. And looks like they are working on a tornado warning. If we go back down off of that one there, Adam, but again, we have a tornado warning potentially being issued for northern areas of Lynn County near the community of Wilson. I know there was a report from the National Weather Service person about that, and we'll be back to our chat here and get some additional information, but they're indicating that from the National Weather Service in Lubbock. They may issue a tornado warning on this particular thunderstorm here. I'm looking over chat line waiting for additional data there as that storm develops at this point. But a National Weather Service person 6 miles southwest of Wilson was reporting a potential tornado to his northwest, about a mile off of the highway, and it looks like that's what the National Weather Service is basing it on. So we don't have the information just yet, but again, you can see the curvature there, not really a hook, but you can also see the large hail just northwest of Highway 87. So if you're in the Wilson area, you need to be seeking shelter immediately in case this does develop into a tornado. We've got our storm chaser, Brian McMillan, out in that area. And by the way, this is a look here. If we take a look at here at the station, you'll see the heavy rainfall coming down at this point, and now in the back of our parking lot here, small hail but intense rainfall going on here. That's just on the northern edge of that storm, by the way. But let's take a look at our storm chaser, Brian McMillan, out. And again, I had sent him down to the northern areas of Lynn County, so he's rapidly headed that way to get in line with that storm that's down in the Lynn County area, the one that they're about to issue. Looks like tornado warning. They just issued that. Let's see, a confirmed tornado located about 5 to 7 miles northwest of Tahoka, moving southeast at 35 miles an hour. So again, we can show you that on, we don't see anything on our storm chaser here. Let's go to the Doppler radar and see if we can find out where that is. And again, that's going to be about 5 to 7 miles north to northwest of Tahoka, and that storm is moving southeast at about 35 miles an hour. Again, you can see a little better contour on that storm itself, so this is going to be right in this general area. Initially reported just to the south and north, really southwest and northwest of Wilson, but again, that's where the core of this will be. That storm will be tracking southeast. So folks, not only in Wilson, but now for the Tahoka area, you need to be getting prepared there. We're talking about going into a safe area, your closet, a bathroom, bedroom, a hallway. You don't want to be in the living rooms. You can turn up the volume on News Channel 11. If you have our weather app, you can take that in with you to the closet if you have a NOAA weather radio as well. But again, tornado warning issued for this portion. As you can see, we've got it highlighted here. Polygon shows that tracking generally southeast, and again, local storm report from the Weather Service, again, 7 miles northwest of Tahoka. A National Weather Service employee reporting a tornado as of 5:45, so that's about 5 minutes ago. And again, you see that storm located right here. So we're going to have Carrie zoom in just a little bit on Highway 87. I want you folks in the Tahoka area to be prepared. You may need to seek shelter immediately. Again, you can see a little bit of an appendage there. You can see some large hail, by the way, just north of Wilson. So again, looking at the color combinations coming up, and this is Tahoka right here. So this is the general area of concern. It is getting a little bit brighter, as you see, and again, indicating the potential there for rotation with this storm. So again, similar to yesterday, it's going to be back possibly in the south-southwest part of the storm. We have to watch it very closely. As soon as the storm chasers are down in that area, we'll get a better idea of what this looks like, and we can go back quickly to Brian, our storm chaser. He apparently, I see something on his camera there. I know he's still a little bit of a distance from it. He's on a 2-lane road. Obviously, it's a little bit bumpy there, but we're watching this particular area here. I can't make out anything of a true definition. I don't know about you, Carrie. Can you tell anything there? Looks like maybe something, but again, I'm not sure where he is. I'll look here on my phone here in a minute and see, but there's the intense part of the storm, so that may actually be just clouds in the distance.
It's possible there that he is focused on the right direction. He's on South Frankfort. That's an area, Frankfort and Woodrow Road. That's a narrow 2-lane road that's south of 1585. He's trying to get back behind it. And there does appear to be some dirt or dust or something under there.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's a land spout or not is it's hard to tell.
It is hard at this distance.
But
and
he'd
we're
be
losing
looking
the
at the right
signal a
area.
little bit. Yeah, and we're
He's
losing
looking
the
at the
signal
right area.
some, so hopefully it will not. But look at the ponding of water he's coming up on there. And again, all the flooding that could occur on these small roads where the heavy rainfall has been occurring. Yes.
I've got a friend of mine, Chad Casey. He's out. He comes up here. He lives in Weatherford, but he loves storms. So let's go ahead and take a look at a video. A shot, actually Weather 4. I'm sorry, it's a Digipic. That's a wall cloud there near Wilson. It was taken in the last 20 minutes, so you could see again what that storm looks like from the south. We are now getting reports of a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado over Tahoka. That is new information, but we're getting reports of a confirmed tornado, and they're calling it large and extremely dangerous. So we cannot see that from here. But let's go to Brian's video again. He's got the best vantage point.
He's got the best vantage point
And
there, and I
you
will
can
remind
see-
you again, safety tips. And Adam, if you
Not
can
showing up in
Yeah,
rotation.
yeah.
find those safety tips again too.
Yeah,
also.
I'll work on that, John. I want to talk about this northern Tahoka storm here. I have something that on radar that when I look at it, I actually kind of dig a little bit deeper into the velocities, and there is definitely something there just north of Tahoka right now starting to show up on velocities. This will probably see it here in a minute or two.
Yeah, and hopefully Brian, he's right in line there. Maybe
Yeah.
he can show us in the proper position there.
Well, it's showing
south or
up.
southwest of the storm. We may lose the signal some, but we're going to go back to him as we can. But the main thing is for you in Tahoka, folks, you need to be taking shelter immediately. So remain calm. Turn up the volume on your television there. Find a small area, a closet, a bathroom, a hallway,
Here it comes.
no second stories, anything like that, out of the living room, out of the bedroom. Obviously, if you have a cellar or a bathroom that's small without windows, in addition to that, if you have a basement, you want to make the charge there. But again, notice the bright colors here intermixed with the green and even some purple there. But again, overall, the green and red showing that rotation with that storm. Looks like, according to the National Weather Service, they're saying it is 5 miles north of Tahoka. It is over Lynn County right now. So 5 miles north of Tahoka, right in this bright area. And again, you see the green, you see the bright red there, the difference there indicating the circulation. The main thing for those of you along Highway 87 and near Tahoka, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. And folks around that area seeking it as well. Adam?
Yeah,
Oh, you've got the
we've
current.
got your tornado safety tips if you'd like to show them.
Yeah, we can show that quickly, and then we'll go back and see what Carrie's got over there on the radar. But just a reminder of what I said a few minutes ago, finding shelter in a small room, a low-lying area, a basement, and a cellar. And that's going to be on our weather computer, I believe,
Yeah,
there,
sure.
isn't it? if you want to go
Yes.
to the safety tips there, yeah.
There you go.
You want to make sure you're inside, middle of the building as possible.
man,
Underground,
Tahoka's-
obviously, as I've been mentioning that.
Might
Get
need
as many
some
walls as you can around you. Get away from the windows and stuff. You can grab pillows or blankets. Helmets are great, bicycle helmets. Mattresses only if they're small, where you can get them rapidly. And again, want to make sure that you get into a safe area. That is the key at this point. Anything new there? It looks like, now according to the Weather Service, I do want to mention, Kerry, I was going to ask you, but I see it now. They think the tornado will remain just east of Tahoka, so that would take it down along Highway 87 and maybe just to the east of Tahoka. So maybe where the core is, it may show up a little bit better on Doppler radar there. It looks like a broad area, though. They were talking about a large and broad area type tornado, Kerry.
Yeah, and Tahoka, you need to stay in your safe spot. I know it may go northeast, but it's right near, there's an overpass north of Tahoka that cuts off to go to Wilson. The Wilson Highway, that's Farm to Market 400, and it goes out from Tahoka to Wilson. That's where the circulation is showing up the largest, and we have rotations, broad rotation. The circulation the Weather Service does think it will remain east of Tahoka, but it's very close to the north and northeast part of the community of Tahoka. Going to be between Wilson and Tahoka area. Newland is out there, Grassland, some locations in the path there. And I would encourage you to just still be staying in your safe spots if you're in the Tahoka region right now, even though it is probably going to pass just north and east of Tahoka. If you're on the FM 400, at the split from US 87 where that bridge and overpass is, you need to be in your safe spot for now. There's another broad area of rotation showing up, two of them really, but it looks like we have the main rotation showing up right in here, and on the back edge too. It looks like there's two different things. I don't know if that's possible, but I guess we could have two wall clouds. But anyway, we do have those two areas that are showing at least on rotation. Let's go look at Brian McMillan's video again. He's now on South Slide. He's getting closer to that region. A lot of flooding out there as well. This is if he's going towards New Home, and you could see again he's on the back edge of that storm, and I don't see anything suspicious in that particular view, but he's also has rain kind of impeding his visibility there, so he's not able to really see it very well. Adam, I don't think you can see much there either. Also, First Bank and Trust, we have a pretty good view of that storm too.
And on the
oh yeah,
yeah, we're getting reports now of apparently some chasers are noticing a large stovepipe tornado northeast of Tahoka right now. So if you are north of Tahoka, in the Tahoka area, in east of Tahoka, because that's going to be the track of this, get in your shelter. I cannot stress that enough right now. Get into your safe space, please.
And again, that's FM 400. That is an area that is just north and east of Tahoka. That is where you need to be in your safe spot for now. That is a confirmed, not a radar detected. And the Weather Service, when they use a word like that, confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado. Again, we're not trying to scare everyone, but we're also want to make it clear that you need to be in a safe spot in this type of environment. This is a large stovepipe tornado northeast of Tahoka that is confirmed, and we may get some pictures on this shortly. But so far, at least for viewers in that region, you need to stay in your safe spot. Let me put it back on a live radar view as opposed to the velocity mode which we use. There is a hook appendage. What is a hook echo? When meteorologists use that, that is an area where the rain wraps around a broad circulation area. Why is there no rain in this portion of the storm? Why is there no rain in here? It's because in that area there's a spinning motion, and it has a tendency to cause the precipitation to get thrown and scattered off to the north and west. So that is a classic hook echo that you would see. Also on his video, it looked like there was a little bit of dirt or dust showing up, but he's, again, Brian McMillan is a little bit too far for us to get a clear picture on it just yet. So
Yeah. Hey, and Kerry, I want to point out on, we brought up very briefly the First Bank and Trust Skycam. I actually like to go to that here real quick. This is the cell that's kind of trailing the one that we're talking about with potentially a large tornado on the ground. And I have noticed that there has been at times a wall cloud underneath that particular storm that we're able to see on the back side of it. However, I have not noticed it rotating, but it is going to be something I need to keep an eye on once we get past this potentially dangerous situation right now northeast of Tahoka.
And as mentioned before, we had two different areas that were showing up. One was out in the northwest part of Tahoka, another one northeast. So there's still 2 areas that are showing up. So that may be very well what the radar is picking up on. It's possible to have 2 wall clouds on one storm. It's rare, but it does happen. I've seen that out there in chasing before, where the wall clouds will reform.
Let me read it.
So again, this is a very dangerous thunderstorm. It is a tornado warning. It is a confirmed tornado as well. That is why we're staying on. We've got John Robinson and Adam Young up here, and news director David Williams, myself and camera crews, a bunch of folks up here helping out today. Again, if you are in a safe spot, I don't encourage you to go out and look at this, but if you are you need to be in a safe spot north and east of Tahoka. It's very close to crossing 380 here in the next few minutes. There may be, I'm sure there are some folks that are 10, 15, 20 miles to the east that can see this pretty well, but a large stovepipe tornado, and it is still on the ground, and it's very close to Tahoka.
Can't see anything on Brian or Storm Chaser. Video there, he's kind of lost it for now. Hopefully it'll go back on that, but again, just emphasizing that you need to take shelter. This does not apply to Lubbock. I know we have a thunderstorm over Lubbock right now, and we have a thunderstorm warning in effect for at least another 15 minutes for Lubbock. This does not apply, the tornado warning, to Lubbock. This is strictly for Tahoka, particularly people east and northeast of Tahoka. The National Weather Service, as Carrie just mentioned there, says the tornado is 1.5 miles northeast of Tahoka. It has been tracking southeast, and I do want to mention here in Lubbock, we've got a wind gust of 62 miles an hour as reported on our Mesonet site, and that was just before 6 o'clock down around the Tahoka area. Could have been associated with that storm developing there. Here at News Channel 11, we've only got it at 31. All right, let's take a look here at weather 4, you guys. All right.
Weather 4?
You take a look at weather 4.
Computer.
This is coming from Taylor. So.
All right.
From our Taylor.
Yeah, and as you can see there again, there is a tornado on the ground. So how was this just a short time ago?
Yeah, this is near Tahoka.
Yeah, just a few minutes ago near Tahoka. So there is still a tornado on the ground there. So again, you need to be seeking shelter immediately in that area. We're talking about just to the northeast of Tahoka. And by the way, if you're out in that area, we don't want you getting in your car to go look at it. You need to stay out of the way. This is a dangerous situation. You want to let the storm chasers and law enforcement agencies report the information in, and they need the roads free to do that. So please don't go out there to take a look at it. Please leave that area and stay clear of that area. And if you live in that area, remember to seek shelter. Once again, as we mentioned, low-lying areas. If you have a basement, if you have a cellar, that's a great place to be. If you don't, we'll make sure you're getting in a closet or a bathroom. Turn up the volume on your television set so that you can hear us clearly. But again, this is a great photo. We just got this in, and again, you can see tornado on the ground. You see the debris there, the wall cloud. That's very intense. We're watching again from our other storm chaser, and let's see, we got a new update from the National Weather Service. Confirmed tornado located still 1.5 miles northeast of Tahoka. It is moving southeast. It's not a direct threat to the city of Tahoka, but it is a threat to areas to the north and northeast and east of Tahoka. So if you live in that general area, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. As you can see, that tornado is currently on the ground. So again, we want to caution you to take shelter. What have you got there, Adam, on radar? And again, it looks like the storm is elongated and obviously a very good hook associated with it. So this gives us an idea where that storm is located, and again, the lightning and the large hail associated with it.
And just looking at the radar signature, you know, in some of the other tools that we have, we can definitely see the dust being kicked up by the tornado. We can definitely see some of the, some of the debris signature. Another thing too is we're looking particularly at this shape just east of Tahoka, getting ready to cross 380. That's something that I would consider this tornado trying to wrap itself in rain. Now that's obviously going to be something that makes it even more dangerous, because now you cannot see it coming from virtually almost any angle. So right now, if you live along Highway 380, particularly around County Road W, County Road 22, right now that's the epicenter of this thing. It is right there in the center of the circulation.
Yeah, you can see it indicated just in this area. So once again, in Tahoka, you guys need to remain alert, but folks that live out in this area, farmers and ranchers in this area, you're the ones that need to be taking shelter immediately. And the rain wrap means if the rain wraps around it, it makes it very difficult to see where the tornado exactly is. We can track it on radar, obviously, but it'll make it much more difficult for chasers out in that area. In addition to that, these farm to market roads, as they get muddy, are going to make it difficult to track this tornado, especially in that area. So they're going to have to try to stay on paved roads, either 87 or 380 and the few paved county roads that may be out in that region. So that may inhibit some of the photos and information that we're getting. But again, National Weather Service, as of a minute ago, said there's still a tornado on the ground. And again, it is tracking east-southeast at about 22 miles an hour. This is your general area of where that storm system is. Notice the green and the brightness of the green and the red. And again, the overall rotation with this storm, as indicated, checking the speeds and the movement of this storm, so it's easy to track the general area of where it is. So anywhere between Tahoka along 380, by the way, it is going southeast, so folks in New Lynn, you're okay, but folks along Farm to Market Road 1054, where it intersects 380, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. And again, you want to make sure that if you're going to get in the vehicle, you want to be getting in a vehicle to go further to the east or to the north. But the best things you can generally do is stay in your home, get in a basement, cellar, and an area such as that. All right, let's take 4 here, and who's going?
We can see the tornado in this video. This is coming from Chad Hasty? Chad Casey. Now we're working on getting the higher resolution video of this up, but you can make out enough to know that it is a large tornado. And all the dust underneath it is definitely turning. It's being ferocious.
So that's still a very dangerous tornado. Unfortunately, we don't see any homes in that area, but we know a lot of folks farm and ranch in that area, power lines, etc. So, you know, we don't want you out there driving, and we want those folks in their homes seeking shelter immediately. Look at all the dust debris around that. You know, look at the tornado core. And again, that storm is in northern Lynn County. And let's see, I do want to say up in Tulia, they just sent a report of golf ball size hail for our folks up in that area. And the thunderstorm warning for Lubbock County has now been canceled. So again, this does not affect the city of Lubbock. Our weather here is improving. We've got this tornado literally on the ground with Chad Casey with the video live feed of that, so we certainly appreciate that. And we've got our storm chaser Brian down in that same area. There's quite a few chasers, as a matter of fact, and that's why the National Weather Service is giving us excellent information on where this storm is, and you can see it moving there. Carrie's got the radar animating, show the motion of that tornado as that storm system is tracking onto the southeast. And the last report I saw was about 25 or 30 miles an hour, unless you guys have seen something, Carrie, Adam?
Yeah, and we're talking about the rain wrapping of the tornado. We're still seeing that happening on radar. Kind of talking about what's going to happen here over the next 10 to 15 minutes. There is a cell that is just south of this as well that's getting ready to merge with the southern part of this storm right in the center of the circulation. So we're going to have to see what happens. That can either kill the circulation or it could enhance it. It could go either way on that one, but it's something that bears watching.
One thing I'm noticing on radar also, on this velocity mode, you get an idea of where the tornado actually is. It's broad and wide compared to where it was a very tight, narrow area. Smaller tornadoes are very small, tight circulations. In this case, we've actually got a pretty large indication, and the dirt and dust that you saw in Chad Casey's video, that would be a characteristic of debris. Yeah. A debris cloud, which can be detected by Weather Service radar. You got bright reds and bright greens on the last half of that scan. So what I want to highlight again on this area, there were 2 areas of rotation showing up, but this whole area right here, especially where the green little circle is in the very center of that graphic right in here, this is where you're most likely seeing the biggest impact, and it's just east of Tahoka, roughly 4 miles now, and the Weather Service calls that gate-to-gate rotation. That's still on the ground, and a very, what they call a rapidly rotating wall cloud over dust obscured the tornado, which is kind of what we saw in the video. There's a lot of debris underneath it, dirt and dust and stuff like that. So it's actually hard to actually see the full scope of the tornado. But it's very much evident on radar and is not showing any signs of letting up just yet either. Anything you have there, John, you want to add, or Adam?
And some, I don't know if Grassland will pop up, but that's another
Grassland.
community we do want to mention down in that area. But again, along 380, you can see here going over towards the Post community. This storm's not a threat to Post at this point. or it doesn't appear to be a threat to New Lynn. It's actually southwest of that. But I know the Grassland community is back in this general area of southeastern Lynn County. So folks in that area, you need to be on alert, maybe prepared to seek shelter immediately. The shelter points we mentioned a few minutes ago. But again, Farm to Market Road there, you can see 1054. Here's Highway 380. Another marker, again, Farm to Market Road 1054. So again, all of the issue is just to your northwest, and that storm is tracking southeast and again continues to move, and now the stout rotating wall cloud and some other dust may be obscuring things a little bit, and especially if the rain wraps around it, but we're keeping a close eye on it, and so is the National Weather Service. And I don't know how many, but there's several storm chasers down there, including Chad Casey chasing for us, and also Brian. And we can take a look at Brian. I think we just lost his signal. I looked around there. It was pretty steady, but again, he's trying to work his way down on the backside of that so he can stay safe or not. And looks like the Weather Service is saying they cannot tell for sure if the tornado is still on the ground due to blowing dust, but you need to take with the thought that it is still on the ground. That's the safest thing. Now we're getting some video again. A little bit of the quality lag there, again, out in the open country, but at least he's getting close to that. This is from Brian McMillan, so our storm chaser down in that area. Chad Casey also had the video coming in earlier, so if we can, we will go back to him. But there's a likelihood that is still on the ground. The National Weather Service cannot confirm that, so you're best if you just consider it still on the ground. Continue to stay in your safe area, particularly if you're in and around Grassland, if you're along Highway 380, any of those farm to market roads. You need to stay where you are. Don't try to outrun the tornado or leave your home. That is not the safe thing to do. You want to stay where you are. So again, we're trying to watch this from as many areas as we can, and they are going to, it says a new tornado warning coming. I assume they're just extending the one they've had up. So again, maybe another edition of the tornado warning with that, because we just can't confirm. The National Weather Service cannot tell if it's on the ground or not. And I haven't seen anything else from Chad. Anything from...
We are going to issue the new tornado warning to extend it further south and east. There is a community down there too called Draw.
Oh, that's right.
That is in the path. I would watch that. Taking that road, shooting for Pete a few times. It is the narrow farm to market. A lot of wind turbines in that area too, I might add. So it's going to enter an environment where there are a lot of wind turbines. And the community of Draw would be in the path of that. That's southeast of Tahoka and east of O'Donnell. The new warning just popped up on the radar. It is a tornado warning until 6:45. Moving southeast 15 miles per hour. It's wrapped in dust and rain, both. So it's making very difficult for anyone to see it because of the dust and the rain. It may be rain wrapped, meaning you cannot see it actually in your area because of so much of the storm components of dust and rain obstructing your view to that. That is a tornado warning. Tahoka, Grassland, I'll mention Draw as well, just for that general region east of O'Donnell under a tornado warning. I'm going to take it out of the velocity mode to show regular radar view. Velocity does show exactly where the storm is, and the tornado warning has been extended to still include areas roughly along 87, but generally speaking it is just a little bit east of the Highway 87 corridor. And very heavy rain falling in there. Tornado warning will continue until 6:45 p.m. It is moving southeast at 15. I'm going to put a brief tracker on there. And I'm going to actually use the actual radar view of the most dangerous part of the storm. And it's hard, again, because there aren't very many communities, but Draw is in there. I know that. And Grassland and perhaps any of those wind turbine farms that are out there east of Farm to Market 1054. Adam.
Okay, so there's a mesonet station that's about 3 miles northeast of Tahoka. That about 5-10 minutes ago measured a wind gust of 65 miles an hour, so that's probably going to be in the rear flank downdraft portion of the storm. And that, so we're still seeing the storm in terms of storms being very healthy. And so we are seeing now reports that this tornado is still on the ground with the storm maintaining its energy, maintaining its circulation, everything else. This could be a long track tornado, I think, at this point, what we would consider a long track tornado. I mean, it's already been on the ground now for at least 15-20 minutes or so. All signs are, when we look at radar, that this is a healthy storm that is not going to lose its energy here anytime soon.
When he mentions long track tornado, there are a couple of things that go into play when it comes to a storm that just pulses up, produces a tornado and goes back up. This is not what we're looking at because it's got well-defined rotation. Actually, the environment is perfect for it to survive. By that, we have a southeast wind at the surface. You've got the caprock aiding in natural lift, and you have a storm there's absolutely nothing in front of it impeding that warm, moist air from coming into the storm itself. There is a storm merger, as Adam mentioned earlier. That's the only thing that could stop it. Otherwise, that's going to continue going for a while, at least as a severe storm. Hopefully, it won't be a tornadic that entire time, but there's nothing impeding. That environment's very unstable. And will stay that way.
And see, we see the hook signature on radar. We see all that, and some of the theories that we talk about with tornadoes and how they form when we start to see that hook is that it's using that rain to actually protect the circulation of the storm. Now, probably what could potentially happen is as that southern part of the storm, or southern cell there starts to merge, is it could disrupt and kind of, break down that protection. But I'm now looking at it here over the last little bit, I don't think that cell's strong enough to completely break it down. So what we might see is that cell go through a cyclic motion once that merger happens. But I think the circulation, the storm movement, and the storm itself is healthy enough that it's probably going to regain that circulation not long after, especially as it gets closer to the caprock, because right now we're really seeing that extra lift from it.
Again, that's a confirmed tornado. So let's go ahead and pop up weather 4 on our video, and we'll animate that. Chad Casey captured this when it was in its large stovepipe look, and a lot of dust and debris. You can see what they're talking about. Dust and rain wrapped in there. Dusty wedge tornado is what they're calling it now, 2 miles north of Grassland. And Chad Casey captured that as it was northeast of Tahoka. It is now southeast of Tahoka, and it just crossed Highway 385, 4 to 5 miles west of Grassland, it appears. So Grassland and the community of Draw are still in that path. The Draw doesn't show up on our radar, but it is very close to that community. So we're looking at strong winds now, 75 knots. Very close to the area east-southeast of Tahoka. Translate that to 80-mile-per-hour winds. That's what that means. And again, we're just looking at that area of velocity, which is still showing up very tight, very well organized, just south of 380. That report said 385, but it's actually Highway 380, southeast of Tahoka. The tornado itself is right near the intersection of Farm to Market 1054, roughly a mile or two south of Highway 380, just very close to the community of Grassland, John. We can see very well that that's very close to the Grassland community, and Farm to Market 1054, if you're in that area east of Tahoka, you need to be in your safe spot. Continue staying in your safe spot, as there is likely a large dusty wedge tornado is what they're calling it. North of Grassland, moving to the southeast at 15 miles per hour. So again, still very tight rotation being detected on Doppler radar. Bright reds and bright greens showing up just west of 1054. I'll highlight that area again. Again, this is not something we normally use unless we have tornadic circulations, but that's where greens and reds come together. It's an indication of whether the air is moving towards a radar or away from it, and it's able to detect it really well. So again, it's showing up in east of Tahoka. Tahoka, you're okay right now. As far as the actual circulation is to your south and east, as far as the tornadic threat is concerned, even though severe weather is still possible in Tahoka. 2-inch diameter hail, that was up in Tulia, so we've got another storm up there. But this is the only severe storm that's actually in our viewing area. Power lines have been reported down now east of Tahoka. Power lines falling as a chaser was driving down Highway 380. That was east of Tahoka in those strong winds. 75 knots is over 80 miles per hour. So we're looking at strong winds.
So again,
John?
just a reminder, as you've been saying there, Kerry, and is Draw. We want the folks in Draw to be seeking shelter immediately, because that storm is tracking towards you. Farm to Market 1054 here, and if it continues on that track, the Draw community down in this area here, you will be in the path of that, so you need to be making your preparations now. And it's best that you get in a low-lying area, a basement, a closet, anywhere you can get underground. If you have a cellar, that is great. Otherwise, hallways and closets, and get away from the windows. And again, you can turn up the volume on News Channel 11, and we will keep you informed. Remember our KCBD First Alert weather app, great way to track the storm on your radar on that app as well. So we want to remind you to do that. But again, we just want to continue to remind you of that, and that's why we're continuing to do this continuous broadcast, by the way, because this is a very large tornado last report on the ground. The problem is a lot of dust, a lot of rain around that makes it difficult for the National Weather Service and the chasers, to keep up with it, but they're doing an excellent job at this point. We do know that it's going to be tracking generally southeast, coming up on Farm to Market Road 1054. That is south now of Highway 380 where the power poles were reported down. So that takes it down in the southeastern corner of Lynn County, and then eventually it might clip the southwest corner of Garza County, or more likely it's going to work its way into the northern areas of Borden County at this point. And again, as Carrie mentioned, this is our primary concern. I know there's thunder again in Lubbock, and there's rain and some lightning and stuff, but there's no issues in Lubbock. This is all down in Lynn County. Tornado on the ground well to the south of us, and it's well to the east and southeast of Tahoka, but it is moving in a southeast direction. So for any farmers, ranchers, folks that live down in this area, you want to make sure that you're making your way to a safe area. And I'm going to report here, best rotation now 6 miles southeast of Tahoka. Seeing a spotter chaser video of 2 tornadoes, one south of 380. Now that's new information. One north of Highway 380, and we talked about the fact there could be 2 wall clouds earlier. Carrie mentioned that, so there may be 2 tornadoes with this. Both tornadoes are east and southeast of Tahoka. So once again, they are not a threat to Tahoka, but they are a direct threat potentially to the community of Draw. I'm reading on the chat line over here, so you need to be seeking shelter anywhere south of 380, along 380, east of 87, and particularly east-southeast of Tahoka, where you see the bright red, the greens coming together to show where that tornado would be located. Unfortunately, it is rain-wrapped. Both of those may be rain-wrapped and dust around them as well, so it'll make them a little bit difficult, but the Weather Service is doing an excellent job, and the chasers in that area pinpointing where that storm is. So I'll remind you again, that would make it 6 miles southeast of Tahoka, and possibly 2 tornado videos, one south of 380 and the other would be north of 380. They're moving east-southeast of Tahoka, and again making their way onto the southeast at about 25, maybe 30 miles an hour. So again, a very dangerous storm system there. We can take a quick look at Brian here. He was down in parts of Lynn County. Looks like he's just trying to come up on maybe the backside of that storm system there. Looks like a lot of dust. Obviously, if there's 2 tornadoes, there will be a lot of dust at the base of that storm system. Dust around one tornado and dust around the other one's going to cause a cumulative effect in that area. So we're staying with Brian. I know we're losing his signal some, but again, we're continuing to stay with him as much as we can. I'm not sure. He may be on another one of those farm to market 2-lane roads. And is this Chad Casey there, Carrie?
This is Ruben Villarreal.
Oh, Ruben. All right.
One of our assistant news director. He's heading down in that direction too, and he's on the back edge of that storm south of Lubbock. He's actually approaching Tahoka, and we're now getting a new update as well from the Weather Service of the original tornado south of Highway 380 is very large, perhaps up to a half-mile wide, according to spotters and chasers. The second tornado has dissipated. That's north of 380. And that's possible because of the broad circulation that you're going to get what we call brief spin-ups along that, or satellite tornadoes are possible under this environment when they get that big. Fairly
common, actually, to pop up there. So that's why the chasers have to be so careful when they're out in that area.
And this is a confirmed tornado again, not radar detected. A lot of people seeing it. It's very large, half a mile wide. Just to give you an idea, would be roughly 34th to possibly the loop, South Loop. A half mile wide is it'll cover 50th to 19th. That's
it's
about the
significant.
size.
And you know, we keep seeing these the rotation signatures go up in speed, come down in speed, go up in speed, and go down in speed. The one constant that we're seeing out of it is the tornado still on the ground, and that just goes to the health of the storm right now. And the fact that we keep seeing it go from a stovepipe, now half-mile wide stovepipe, to a little bit more. It was trying to rope out at one point, and then went right back to a stovepipe. So the storm, it's not so much cyclic like the wall cloud that we were watching yesterday. If you remember that video from Tower Cam, this tornado is on the ground in maintaining a cyclic nature, while maintaining the circulation touching the ground, and that's significant.
Run Doppler for me real quick. We're getting some more video. I'm gonna work on getting that up for us.
All right. Let me take a look at what's going on. Let's take a look at, I believe this may be Brian in this monitor here. And you can see a lot of dust there. Yeah, I'm looking over the monitor, but here we're seeing it. Well, oh man, we just lost the signal. Well, hopefully we'll get that back in a minute. See a lot of dust there. I'm not sure where he is. I'll check on my phone here in a few minutes, but obviously driving on the 2-lane roads in that area, he doesn't have much time to text me or let me know what's going on. I do want to mention that a flash flood warning is in effect for Lynn County. This storm has been so massive and so slow moving through this area. There's flooding likely at all of these farm market roads, maybe along Highway 380, maybe along Highway 87 as well. So again, that is moving through Lynn County, going to the southeast. Now we've got somewhat of a live picture here. Hopefully that'll come back in a little bit better shape. But again, just be aware of that. And again, this storm, although we've got some thunder, some rain around Lubbock County and some other counties as well, the main storm system, the main tornado on the ground is in Lynn County. It is not a threat to Lubbock. Continues to not be a threat to Tahoka as well. It's right in this general area where you find the circulation, well south of 380 and just east of Highway 87. That storm's going to be tracking generally southeast at probably around 20-25 miles an hour. So I don't know of anything new there, but you can see the wrap up around that storm. So that's why it's so difficult to see the dust and dirt and rain.
That ball, I mean,
Yeah.
itself just spin. One thing I want to point out, John, you know, we talk about tornadoes. Obviously, that's the most significant threat right now. But do want to mention that there's now a flash flood warning in effect for Lynn County. These areas here have been seeing rain now for quite a while. There's a couple of there's a couple areas there along the roads that like to flood, and we can't forget what the #1 weather-related killer in the United States is: flash flooding. So, you know, just if you see flooding on the road behind these storms as you're traveling, just stay out of it, let it drain out a little bit before you try to proceed further.
That's some great advice there. And again, you know, there's still some probably waterlogged areas around the city of Lubbock and Lubbock County, so make sure that you're using a little caution there. Again, a very large tornado, easy to see the wrap of that storm system. That entire system, by the way, reaches over to Post. So for those of you in Post, you do not have the tornadic system close to you, but you do have part of that storm over you. In fact, it extends all the way on 380 from Tahoka all the way to the east to Post. But this is the core of the problem south of 380, southeastern corner of Lynn County. Its storm is still swinging southeast anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour. We're finally getting maybe a little bit of good news here, Adam. Looks like the tornado may be roping out via spotter and chaser video. So that's what we're hoping for, but there's not a confirmation. Folks in draw, you still need to remain in your safe area until we give you the all clear. So once again, it may be roping out, but then again, it may be cycling here. And here we're taking a look now. Is this our chaser, I'm assuming, because I know we've switched a couple of times. This would be Brian McMillan there. So he's down in that area. He's just to the north of it. And again, you can see all of the dust with it and the rainfall as well. So he's over in the median, a safe area, watching that. So hopefully that is roped out. And by roped out means it's coming thinner. It's going to be kind of like a snake extending from the cloud down, generally indicating that it's going to die out. In this case, we're not sure. This is such a massive storm system. It may just be refueling itself, as you might say, regenerating. It may come down again. We'll just have to wait and see, and you see some appendages there.
Yeah, and looking at radar here, particularly over the last couple of minutes, like we still see the circulation. It's still a rather intense circulation, but it's a little bit more broad than what it was earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be doing exactly what you said, maybe kind of regenerating. It could be some of that cell merger that we were talking about 5-10 minutes ago starting to happen and starting to kind of affect that circulation of the tornado. Now I'm going to switch this over also to just our general reflectivity for what we see with normal rain. And one thing you'll watch too is probably the anvil precipitation, just the overall part of the storm start to overtake that main part of the circulation too. So that could be affecting the tornado from above as well. So at the same time, you see that, and then you look just a couple miles more off to the south and east, and what happens there? You're starting to get another appendage that we're going to have to watch out for as it starts to approach the caprock.
That's true, and then we've got another cell. It'll be interesting to see how those two react once they combine with that storm coming still to the south and southeast. But I know the draw community down in this general area, you need to remain in your safe spot. We do not know that this tornado will develop or not. We're just last information. Came in about 6:24, about 4 minutes ago. The tornado was roping out, which would mean that it's dissipating basically at this point. Although the storm may re-intensify, may produce another tornado possibly an additional wall cloud, funnel cloud combination. We don't know yet. It'll be interesting to see once this other cell merges, you know, on a positive side, maybe it'll cause that system to become more disorganized and we'll be in better shape there. And then again, it may not. We just have to kind of wait and see. A couple of storms north, nothing significant here. They did have golf ball size hail near Tulia earlier. A couple of storms way down south of Seminole on 385. Those might affect Dawson County eventually. So obviously this is our primary supercell making its way through the south and southeastern areas of the South Plains. And you can notice all of the hail just along Highway 385. Still got a fairly good strong circulation with this storm making its way in that region. So again, we continue to watch the chat out of the National Weather Service and their information. And we're looking over here now at another view. Let's go back to Brian McMillan down in Lynn County chasing for us. And again, this is a live view. And again, look at all the dust and dirt there. Still very difficult. You'd have to be a little closer. I cannot tell here unless that is totally roped out and there's just a little appendage or two hanging down. Okay, we're back to the live view now, so it makes it much easier to see. And I don't see anything coming down there. I know we've got Carrie and Adam and David, our news director, all looking at that to see if we see anything, any evidence or anything there of anything coming down, at least significantly or down on the ground. And obviously some folks driving right by that, so hopefully they will obviously make their way away from that area with this severe thunderstorm. But again, visibility could be near zero in the areas closer to where the tornado was, where the strongest winds were, where the dust and the rain are occurring. So it does make it very difficult keep up with the storm like that. But at least out here on the South Plains, overall, it's much easier to track those tornadoes than it is in central and east Texas and over parts of areas further to our east. And let's see here, updating tornado warning. Let's see, considerable. Let's see, radars indicating 1 and 3/4 inch size hail going into Garza and Lynn. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located 5 miles southwest of Grassland now, 8 miles southeast of Tahoka, still moving southeast to the small community of towards Draw. So it's going southeast at about 15. So it looks like they're still continuing the tornado warning, but it looks like they're going to go with a severe thunderstorm warning for that, with a possible tornado still being produced by the storm at any moment. So again, still a very dangerous situation for the folks down in the community of Draw. This is in the southeast corner of Lynn County. It will be clipping the southwest corner of Garza County, by the way. But as I mentioned, it's not a threat to Post. It's no longer a threat to Tahoka. There's likely some areas of large hail, and we saw that a few minutes ago along 380 between Tahoka and Post, anywhere around 1 to 2 inches or larger there. Adam, you got something new?
Nothing new with this.
Oh, I saw you move your hand up and thought you were waving at me there. So again,
just taking it all in.
So anyway, some large hail likely in that area. So we're going to take a look. Let's take another live look at Bryan down in that area and see. We don't see quite so many fragments hanging down. It's hard to tell if there's any rotation. I don't see much rotation with that. Obviously, there's some traffic flow going on through there. So again, watching this storm very, very closely. It's still going southeast. It's slowed down a little bit in its movement, going about 15 miles an hour. I'll emphasize again, it's primarily a threat for all of you folks who may live in the southeast corner of Lynn County, in and around the community of Draw and south of the community of Grassland. So again, it is making its way southeast. And a reminder again, severe thunderstorm capable of possibly producing a tornado again, 5 miles southwest of Grassland and 8 miles southeast of Tahoka, moving southeast. Carrie, what have you got there?
We'll move to weather 4. This is Chad Casey again in that area. He's shooting off a phone, so it's hard to see, but you can definitely see the tornado and the circulation there in the middle of the screen. The visibility has been pretty bad because of the dust and dirt, but you could still tell at that point you're east-southeast of Tahoka that there's still a circulation showing up. And so I'll play it one more time just so you see it. And this is what it looked like a little bit earlier when it was northeast of Tahoka too. So we do have, again, that stovepipe tornado appearance on both of those videos. And rotation is still showing up pretty good on the radar view, even though we don't have an official confirmation that it is still on the ground. But that is what I have for you there. Go back to radar view.
I'm just going to mention, just let me throw this right quick there, Adam. Brian said they're getting ready to close Highway 87 down, and he is just north of Tahoka at this point. So 6 miles south on 87, looking towards Tahoka, 6 miles south on 87. They're about to show it Highway 87 down, so it's still traffic flow. That's what I thought was odd.
Because of flooding, 'cause there's
Yeah.
definitely a couple of low-lying areas there.
Down in that region, yeah.
We mentioned velocity starting to that still look good. Actually, they're starting to look really healthy again. We're seeing the reds and the greens get real close together. That's a surefire sign that the storm's starting to turn again. It's not as broad as it was 5 minutes ago when the storm started to rope out and pick up the tornado. So this could be the circulation starting to reappear in the low levels. So we'll be having to watch to see if anything else is going to drop from this. This is still an ongoing dangerous situation.
It definitely is there, and again.
Because we have Ruben Villarreal, he has run into some damage along Highway 380. Weather 4 is we've got some live video showing up here. There was some damage and debris on the road just a second ago as I saw him driving on 380. This is between Post and Tahoka. It's hard to tell there on his angle where he's at, but I did see debris on Highway 380. It's hard to tell what it was, but we did have that showing up between the Post and Tahoka area. It's raining very hard. Some hail in there, but just a second ago I was going to see if he was going to move again, but we did have debris on the roadway in that area along 380. So back to you.
Storm, that's the main thing. And again, let's see here. Circulation is still 8 miles southeast of Tahoka and nearly stationary at this point. So it doesn't appear to be moving, unfortunately, but it will be dumping a lot of rainfall in those low-lying areas you were mentioning there, Adam, between Tahoka and Lamesa, and even coming back a little bit to the north. So they may be closing down Highway 87 if you're thinking of traveling south, or you know anybody down in Lamesa trying to travel north. But at best, in general, not to be traveling anywhere in that area with this massive storm system moving through that region.
Yeah, and that circulation, you mentioned it's almost stationary, 8 miles southeast of Tahoka. That's almost pinned directly on top of FM 1054 there to the southeast of Tahoka. So right over top of FM 1054, if you're in that area, that's exactly where the circulation is above you.
Amazing there, but again, it's still showing. You see some bright red showing up, some lighter green showing up, and again, so storm hasn't given up. It still could produce a tornado, and again, it's 8 miles generally southeast of Tahoka, almost. If you watch that loop there, you will see, if I put my hand here, you see almost no movement. That's why they said it's generally stationary, especially along 1054 south of 380. There's some large hail, we understand, right along 380 between Post and Tahoka at this point. Probably some very large hail and very low visibilities, and intense rainfall and dust in this area along Farm to Market Road 1054, reaching down maybe to Farm to Market 213. We keep giving you the numbers there. There's Highway 87, so you can keep a position there. Obviously not a threat to Tahoka at this point, and even though it reaches over to Post, it is not a direct threat to the community of Post at this point. Still a threat, though, to the folks down in the community of Draw. So we want to make sure, and let's see here, they are coming back out with a new tornado warning to replace the current warning. That expires at 6:45. We'll wait and see how long. They may go at least 30 minutes, I would assume there, guys.
Yeah, I will mention something too. This is similar to what happened a couple of years ago with Dimmitt. When a storm becomes stationary like that, it's usually in the process of intensifying, and it will stay in place when it reaches a point where it's starting to gain more strength. You're also very close to the caprock. You're about to get a storm merger as well. Yeah. So that type of situation can produce not just the parent tornado, but you can get additional spin-ups at any point where they merge. That cell merger is occurring. The Weather Service is just mentioning that over southeast Linn County. This is Brian's video is really showing, again, a pretty good view of what's going on. It appears he's on 380. Yeah. So we're looking at the storm there. You've got several areas of concern. Looks like he's got something there on the left that will look a little bit interesting, but I can't tell if that's a sign or not.
You almost have something right there on the left and also on the right at
both
this
sides.
point, which, earlier on this storm.
The dust too.
Yeah, and that's that good outflow. We'll talk about that here in a second. But this storm earlier did have two tornadoes down on the ground at the same time. So two wall clouds, two centers of rotation. That's what we saw. Now, Carrie, you mentioned the dust sitting there.
Yeah.
We're starting to see strong winds once again get kicked out of this storm. That's going to be pretty common out of this type of thunderstorm. And another thing too, you mentioned with it sitting there being stationary and it regenerating itself. Well, it's got plenty of energy to work with. We go back to radar, and right along 380, right along the boundaries that this storm is putting down. This is looping over the last 30 minutes, and you can see the precipitation starting to spread westward. And so this storm is very healthy, has plenty of energy to work with, and really right now the biggest thing that I'm interested in seeing over the next 10 minutes is what's going to happen with this cell merger.
There's a new one.
So we are looking that this is the new tornado warning that's coming out now. They're mentioning the threat is considerable, 9 miles southeast of Tahoka, and they are still saying nearly stationary is exactly what we're seeing on radar right now.
And so the location on that would be 4 miles southwest of Grassland, or 9 miles southeast of Tahoka, nearly stationary. So again, we're waiting really to see how these two storm systems merge together, because once they start that actual merging, we'll have a couple of potential happenings there. It may continue to intensify, or it may dissipate some, but we just don't know at this point. Let's take a look at Brian's live video again, our storm chaser down in Lynn County. Look at the walls of dust now being kicked up around that storm system, and a couple of areas concerned right here, and another one back over a little bit over in that area. So again, this storm's still very dangerous, and obviously visibility is going to dip down to near zero. I'm not sure how long we'll be able to see. Depends on how much dust gets kicked up around the backside of that storm system. But once again, still a very dangerous thunder. I don't see a time on that, but anyway. 7:15, all right, I didn't catch that on there. But again, look at the winds blowing towards Brian in his car there, and the dust coming in with that storm system. So very massive storm system in that area, very dangerous. Folks in the community of Draw, you need to remain alert, and all of the region down there. With this system stationary, we simply have to wait and see if it starts moving again, either east or southeast. We're just not sure at this point which particular direction it's going to be going. Is that new video there, Adam, or is that just some video you were looking at?
That's Ruben's video.
Oh, okay.
We're just watching, but nothing significant on it right now.
There.
Hey, real quick, and I don't want to go to it on radar because this is obviously a very dangerous storm, but I do know that if you live in Gaines County, if you live in Dawson County, you probably just had your phones go off with a new warning. It's not affecting anybody in the KCBD's viewing area yet, but we're keeping an eye on it. But yeah, your phone probably just went off with a warning. Just keep an eye to the south.
All right, thanks. Appreciate that. And again, this storm is not a threat to Lubbock, obviously, but we do have some showers and storms around parts of Lubbock again. But again, our concern right here, this general area right here, it is northeast of O'Donnell, it is southeast of Tahoka, likely not a threat to Tahoka, and a very remote chance it might impact O'Donnell, but it's definitely going to affect all of this area along Farm to Market Road 1054. Visibilities could be near zero. Looks like latest thing from the Weather Service literally just came down. 8 miles southeast of Tahoka still, and still stationary. And we're looking now, let's look back to Brian. He just caught this on our live view. Joshua did there, pointing over and running over to the monitor and looking here to see, and we're going to see he may be having to move a little bit. Oh, and over here, two distinct areas there. So we're watching to see if that other area, maybe the dust and dirt being kicked up with inflow coming into that storm. Hard to tell at this point. There's his wipers, and again, you can see this massive area of dirt here. Still some automobile traffic down there over this little banner, but again, look at that building up there. We'll have to watch that closely and see. And lost our signal for a second, but hopefully it'll be back here shortly. Looks like there's some fragment clouds in there. There's quite a bit of dust on the ground, but maybe that'll come back live here in a few minutes. But Brian's down in an excellent area there, although he's very good, I should say, at chasing. So he will be keeping himself safe, number one, and then getting us the best video he can. So again, we're in an area there where he's got to be very cautious. By the way, there is a new thunderstorm warning coming out for the area south of New Home. That's also in Lynn County. That is not tornadic, but that's a thunderstorm warning for the New Home area. So you may be in a potential there of getting some large hail in and around New Home, northern Lynn County. So again, let's see here. I can't see anything but just the general dust. I'm seeing same thing you are. The vehicles on the road there, traffic-wise, traveling through that area. He is moving south once again, getting a little bit closer to the area of dirt there and dust being blown up into the atmosphere. But I do want to mention again, there's a new storm south of New Home that is in Lynn County, and there's a thunderstorm warning that has been issued on that. So overall, Kerry, you have anything new? We might look at Doppler right quick just to show people.
I will look at Doppler because this is an animation of the last 30 minutes. The storm was moving southeast. Watch it backtrack. We're seeing that stationary movement. 1054 in that area south of 380 has been under that for 15 to 20 minutes consecutive, and if there is a tornado on the ground, there's damage in that area. We're seeing very strong signature of rotation in there. That storm has not weakened at all. There is a merger going on, mind you, but you can see that circulation right on 1054 right now, and it had backed up just a little bit. I don't think it's going to go northwest or anything, but the fact that it's regenerating to that point and being along 1054 right near Grassland and just north of the community of Draw. For those who wonder where Draw is, it is near FM 213 and FM 1054. That is that area right in here. There's where the community of Draw is roughly. And then you've got the tornadic circulation just to your north, where it is showing up very, very well on radar view. And again, over the past 15 minutes or 20, it's been sitting right there. That is a dangerous storm. Again, not trying to frighten anyone. That is not our intention. But to take it seriously, because this is a confirmed tornado. And the fact that it's showing that much rotation is a good sign that it is actually on the ground again. There's a lot of dust. Brian's video has been showing that, and there's the Weather Service confirming a very impressive rotation. Signature 8 miles now southeast of Tahoka. Looks like Brian's getting into some precipitation of some sort. Ruben Villarreal is on weather 4 as well. We got several different versions. A lot of wind, and there's not a lot of trees, as you can tell, in that area. I don't know if we can get his windshield wiper or not, but anyway, he's getting hit with some rain in there, and you can see the concentration of dirt and dust. In other words, you're not going to be able to look at all the chasers. And you've also got some debris perhaps there in that drainage ditch area. So you've got some issues in that area. That looks to be 380. I can't tell exactly where on 380, probably near 1054. And you can see all of the dirt and dust in the air. It's probably unlikely that you actually see that parent thunderstorm. Hail of ping pong ball size also being detected east of 87 on Farm to Market 1313. That is further north, I believe. Oh, no, it's 5 miles southeast of Tahoka. So FM 1313 and east of 87, about a couple of miles, reporting ping pong ball size hail still falling in that cell. So again, very impressive. Brian is right on that. Brian McMillan is right on that storm. The merger has already taken place. The storm is still showing no signs of decreasing. If anything, it is back building further west. Adam, you have something you want to add on that video that you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, can we remove the banner real quick? There. Emergency vehicles are on something here.
Yeah.
It looks like, I'm asking Brian where he is.
Yeah.
Maybe he can let me know.
So we can brighten it. I don't know if we have the capability of brightening the video. Okay, that's just the one-way sign there on top of the stop sign, but something's happening there right where he's at.
Now, they may have, well, they haven't shut the road down completely, but they may be holding
debris,
everybody
Yeah.
because that storm is
He's removing some debris.
backtracking, as Kerry mentioned, coming back to the west. It's kind of wobbled back to the west just a little bit. So we're looking at a live view again, what's going on down just southeast of Tahoka. Well, actually, and they're generally located south or southeast of Tahoka, most of these vehicles with that storm system. And we'll wait and see as soon as I can't quite tell, but maybe Brian will give me a location. He's at Highway 87, Kerry, and 3231.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing 3231.
Trying to think of where that is.
Highway 87 is closed down.
Yeah.
This is according to Brian, our storm chaser.
Okay.
So
3231.
Definitely so.
I've chased a lot, but I don't recognize that number.
I don't recognize it either.
Let's see. We may have to find a map of some kind to put that on.
I've
I don't
got
have
a,
3231.
yeah,
I know
while
where
you look-
87 is.
While you're looking there, I've got a Lynn County map. Let me see here.
I bet that's where they've closed 87, though, if that's where he's on. If he says he's on 87, they have closed them. Look at the motion of the clouds now on this video. If you look up the top, you'll see a lot of rapid motion taking place, not necessarily where the strong rotation is being detected. But I also noticed some kind of official pulling some metal off of the road there just a second ago. So there is something, at least debris-wise, that showed up in that particular area, because they're letting some traffic still go through, from what I'm seeing, and that appears to be either fire or emergency management personnel checking that out. Come back to radar real quick. The storm merger has taken place. I will go ahead and show that. We'll come back to this video in just a second, but I do want to update on the radar view. I know there's other storms, but this one is still a tornado emergency. Rotation is wobbling back. Now, when I animate the radar, you really can't see a whole thing going on. You see the hook echo, and the storm merger has taken place. So you can actually tell in that area east and southeast of Tahoka, right in this general vicinity, the storm merger took place. You could see the rotation of the rain, the wrap-up of the hook echo, and now it is wobbled back. If I put it back on velocity, the mode we use to indicate where tornadoes are located, it is still showing tight rotation. It is not backed off at all from where it was earlier, and I'm going to animate it for the past 1 hour, well, actually the last 30 minutes, and you'll see again how it has wobbled and drifted further west back to Highway 87. I don't think it's going to make that full trend, or we won't put everyone out of the danger area, but it is rare to see a storm go southeast that quickly and then start to wrap back to the west like that. So now it is west of 1054 when it was earlier east of 1054, and there's something on the ground there that's still showing up, more than likely some debris. That's why you're seeing the strong green and bright red, bright green signatures. The brighter the colors, the stronger the winds and the stronger the inflow. There is an update from the Weather Service. Circulation just kind of wobbling around. They call it rogue motion, common with stationary supercells. When we get a storm that's nearly stationary, it sits in place. The Dimmitt storm did that a couple of years ago, and Dimmitt went like 4 or 5 hours with one storm. I hope this doesn't do that here.
You know, this is one example that we haven't seen a storm like this in quite a while on the South Plains. So the best example I can actually think of is actually a stationary hurricane. How you kind of sometimes look at it, if you look at satellite imagery and the eye kind of wobbles around, it's the exact same thing that's happening here right now as far as that. Hey, we got some great video from Trey Barrera. That's going to be on Weather 4. This is from the Stovepipe tornado earlier on. This is what we've been talking about. This tornado has since picked itself up, but John, this is I don't know if this is on 380 or 87 at the time at 4-lane highway. I can at least tell that much, but this earlier on was a very large and powerful tornado.
Definitely so, and I believe that would be 87 with the median in the middle there, because 380, it's
380 is mostly
just
two-lane,
a 5-lane or 2 to 4 lane there. But again, earlier, great video there. We appreciate that. There is an update coming down. Let's see, tennis ball size hail reported by a chaser 7 miles southeast of Tahoka. The back window broken out about 6:40, so that's about 11 minutes ago. And let's see, just a short distance northeast of the circulation. At 6:51, the Weather Service now continues the tornado warning. Considerable damage threat potential with this hail up to 2.5 inches. And let's see, Garza, Lynn County at 6:50, tornado is located 4 miles southwest of Grassland and 9 miles southeast of Tahoka and is stationary. So folks, really not only in draw but in grassland, you need to make sure that you're on alert as well. So if you're in grassland and draw, make sure you remember those safety tips. We've all talked about it a little bit and talked about it for years. As a matter of fact, you want a cellar, a basement's a great place to be, a hallway, a closet, a bathroom away from the windows, out of the garage area, out of the living and bedroom areas there, smallest areas you can find. You want the most walls that you can find to put around you. Underground is the very best thing, a basement or a cellar, but if you don't have that option, you want to be underground if at all possible. Second to that, you want to be in a small room that protects you with more walls. Bathroom, a closet, something like that. Even under the stairwell is a great place to be. Those are just some safety tips to keep in mind.
That was video posted on Facebook earlier. Let's go live to Brian McMillan again. He's back there on 87 on the video live view. And
right.
You could see again, he's got some dark cloud, a lot of dirt being kicked up, again to be expected for storms like this. I think it froze, and it's natural to see that too, especially when you have cell service that's a little limited in that area, and when you have heavy rain and storms, it impacts the ability for signals to reach the tower. And I'm sure there are a lot of people also on the phone
on the towers,
in that area. that are trying to communicate with emergency personnel. So those complications also arise when you have situations like this. But you can see a little bit of the storm structure. It is building. There are 2 storms now in the general Tahoka area that are coming together. There are 2 areas of rotation anyway. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on. And Adam has another video. Go back to Weather 4. This is impressive. Probably one of the better pictures I've seen all day on Weather 4 of a tornado there. Again, wow. It's hard to say how big, but it gives you an idea of what you're looking at. Again, this is not just an average tornado warning. We haven't had anything like this in some time where we've had a continuous tornado on the ground. This is now 6 miles southeast of Tahoka because it has backtracked a little bit. We have seen that actual area of rotation now west of 1054, but still east of Highway 87. So again, some impressive video showing in from all sources tonight.
Yeah, I want to go back to velocity real quick. I want to point out that as this circulation has really started to wind its way back to the west, this is now starting to track over areas where the circulation had turned over initially. So if this is putting down anything that maybe happens to be rain wrapped or anything like that, we could have some areas that are getting hit a second time from the same storm. We're also watching some areas back to the west as some of the new cells are starting to try to pop up. We're noticing some areas of circulation back that way. Nothing confirmed on that. I don't even think we're just watching it at this point. But right now, in addition to Highway 87 being closed for sure that we know of north of Tahoka, if you're south of Tahoka, be watching this, especially between Tahoka and O'Donnell over the course of the next 30 minutes, because there's multiple areas of circulation, multiple areas I'm sure now that are flooded along 87 south of Tahoka. I can think of one area, go about 10 miles south of Tahoka there, where it really kind of drops down. That loves to flood right there. So that's going to be a concern, but the circulation out there wobbling right now is a concern as well, now going over areas it already has.
Again, those 2 areas of circulation are showing up on radar. The strongest is the original storm that was tornadic. It is still maintaining high velocity signature and a good, it's showing 60 knots. That's a decrease from earlier. Translate that to miles per hour, 70, 75 would be realistic. When it was 80 knots, roughly 70 knots, you were looking at 80 to 85 mile per hour. The actual wind gusts sustained in there. So that has actually come down a tad, not much, but still strong in that area of rotation southeast of Tahoka. Out west, it's still hard to tell what's going on there. There is some indication that it's not quite as strong as it was earlier on southeast of Tahoka. Adam also mentioned the fact that we've had some heavy rainfall in that vicinity. And if you look at that, I'm going to give it a second to pop up. It takes it a second on this. This is precipitation totals. Along Highway 380 in particular, these are just estimates. Why flooding may be a concern. We've had up to 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of rain in the last hour. So 380 is something you don't want to travel right now just because of that intense rainfall. These are precipitation estimates. And also I want to throw up the hail zone. It is still showing that hail zone being east of 1054, where it's large hail, 1.4 inches in diameter. A storm track on that, since it is nearly stationary, is almost hard to put a tracker on that, and maybe until it starts getting somewhat of a normal regular motion, putting a track on that isn't going to do a lot other than to just let you know if you're in Lynn, Garza, and Dawson and northern sections of Borden County, remain alert as that storm could move in any direction once it gets its momentum picking up again. It's just in a process of recycling. So if you're in that area, that is something that you need to watch. Also, tornado now likely hidden in rain and cannot be seen. According to that, a tornado warning has now been issued for Garza and Lynn until 7:15, 5 miles southeast of Tahoka. It's moving west. And look at Brian McMillan's video, too.
Yeah, and you mentioned the recirculation, Carrie. We're seeing now reports from some other people, and we're starting to see our own chaser as well. New hard wall clouds starting to form out of this storm. So it is that doing that recycling motion that we've been talking about.
There you are.
So they are, yeah, right there. Look at that.
That's Brian McMillan, our storm chaser, out today. Look at how congested the clouds look. Very congested look. It's hard, very...
Could we take the banner down there, please?
Yeah, do so.
Yeah, thank you.
That That's looks like a tornado to me, but maybe land spout. But anyway, there's something going on there in his video just to the right. There's a lot of dirt and dust in there, which is typical as well.
See, and that would be in the right part of the thunderstorm to be able to see that circulation start to reach the ground. And it looks like in between the road shaking, you can kind of see the dust clouds starting to form up a little bit more underneath it.
Getting a new warning. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if
that's
for
going to
our
be
area or not. I'll
Briscoe
check it.
Swisher as we watch this, and again, watching it very closely now. All right, yeah, you can see the structure of the storm here. Can't tell if that's rotation or if that's or not. It looks like it.
Yeah, and it's so congested with the storm merger taking place. It's hard to really see without a overall perspective. You may have multiple wall clouds going
And there
on.
might be something there.
Yeah, and I think on the right edge there's something going on, even if it's not necessarily a tornado on the ground. If you look at the center now too, you almost have another lowering to the left of that. That's to me a tornado. I mean, it's very hard to to me, as big as it is, at the very least, it's a land. Well, it doesn't look like a land spout anymore. And also in the middle, we've got two
right
areas.
Here. Yep.
Adam, your interpretation?
Yeah, I would say right now we've got two circulations reaching the ground. I think so.
Appears to be there. One appears to be there.
And this does have a history of putting down multiple circulations at the same time. And that's not going to be an uncommon thing with these type of wobbly type of supercells either.
Multi-vortex type of situation where you get little satellites. That does happen with the circulation showing up the way it is.
And really, you bring up the multi-vortex. Like it's a true multi-vortex right there to the right there where I think that's what we're seeing. I think that's why it looks kind of ragged, is I think that's a multiple vortex tornado right there.
Well, now you've got the wall cloud. He just shifted it further to the right.
Here.
And I think it's about to get bigger because it's now getting where the dust is circulating in one certain area, and it's also leaning into the storm in the proper direction and the proper vantage point. So that's a tornado on the ground. Hopefully you can pull up just a little bit. Very large.
Yeah, very large
at this point now.
Yeah, and considering, and he's in the vehicle by himself, he's doing a great job manipulating his position and getting the camera in the right position there.
He can,
so I'll give him a second. I guess he's going to stop and maybe swing the camera. We'll see.
There you go.
Yep, a little better there. As you can see, look at that reaching down, and again.
Yeah.
And so again, a tornado warning remains in effect for that area. And again, likely hidden in the rain and also the dust, but we're able to see something in that general area right now. And that's going to be generally southeast of Tahoka. The problem is the system, again, could be rotating back to the west. So folks in Tahoka, just remain alert. It's probably not a threat to you, but just in case. But folks in Grassland and Draw, we keep emphasizing, need to be alert in case something does develop with that. I know we're getting some additional warnings down. We have a warning for Swisher, Briscoe County. That's a couple of strong severe thunderstorms, but not tornadic such as this thunderstorm. So Brian's moving the camera there. Now it looks like a lot of dust with that, but again, hard to tell there. So, and you can see that, look at that. And once again, hopefully it'll go live again here in a few minutes, or at least we'll get our signal back. Very intense, a very dangerous thunderstorm. You need to remain in shelter, and again, turn up the volume on your television so you can hear us and stay in your safe spot there. And we're all very closely looking at the video, and obviously some other folks driving by as well. So just very little movement there. Very interesting with that.
The other thing I'll mention too, just looking at that video, you can actually with the naked eye see the rotation taking place above that dust spiral you're seeing on the ground. That's a sign that dust is at least being lifted up into the actual wall cloud structure. So to me, when you start seeing dust swirling up into the actual wall cloud structure, by definition, you do have a tornado. So that is still valid. That's, I believe, the storm southeast. The Weather Service is also saying there's that circulation 9 miles west-southwest of Tahoka. In that storm, too, it has two different areas of circulation. Now you're starting to see one area where the dirt is starting to go up into one central area. And again, the actual wall cloud itself, we had a clear vantage point a while ago. It was visibly rotating. You could see that with the naked eye, and something there on the bottom, Adam, as well. Right edge.
And that's once again in the right portion there.
This is similar to last night.
And that almost looks a little bit more like a rope structure right there directly underneath it. But then, you know, as it starts to kind of recycle itself,
Yeah.
it starts to thicken up.
You can see one
But
here
still
and
almost
here.
multiple vortices right there.
And you do have that area too, which is still in the process of strengthening the overall wall cloud. That's actually there. You got one.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's a tornado right
Better
there.
definition right there. Let him move the camera a little bit.
It speaks for itself. It's basically staying east and southeast of Tahoka, and on. We won't show radar. We'll keep you on the video, but I can see two areas of circulation showing up within the radar view too. This is southeast of Tahoka. For those, we haven't updated location for a while. For those who are watching and you're wondering where this is southeast of Tahoka. Tornado warning has been on this storm for over 2 hours, and almost a continuous tornado on the ground the entire time. There's still a lot of rapid rotation going on, and clouds even going up on the top of that image. I can see there's rotation going on. So this
There
is difficult.
yes. Now, I'm going to tell you, he's just texted me. He was headed west on 213,
Okay.
and then he's looking northwest from 213. Now, I don't know what reference he
Yeah.
is to Tahoka or anywhere, but he's on 213 apparently at this point.
So he's west of Draw.
So-
That's between O'Donnell and Draw.
Yes.
That road I'm familiar with, the FM 213, is between Tahoka and the community of Draw. Draw is east of O'Donnell, and that's matching up very well with where the circulation is on radar. I'll mention that even on the radar vantage point, we'll keep it on video, but the velocity loop has shown the overall progression of that storm. Check it out. Actually, we can look at Doppler very quickly while it's not a tornado on the ground, while he's getting resignaled. Let's look at the mode here in Doppler. We've got a split screen. Look how the rotation was sitting stationary and just wraps around
Yeah.
real quickly. Now it's moving fast and rapidly to the south.
You know, and that right there, you notice, when did that happen? Carrie, that was with that storm merger, that storm that came up from the south. It started to kind of wrap around that outer periphery of that second storm that kind of got sucked up into the primary storm. But that couplet on the radar is still there. I mean, you can see it right there, right by the 87.
So that's where
on
he
the
is.
way. It's very small, but it's there, and we see it with ground truth right now with live video.
And again, you can watch that back edge too, because if those two happen to, it may re-enhance that back edge and make
Right.
it the more dominant portion of the storm over time. We'll have to wait and see, but either way, there's still a circulation, and now it's moving quickly after being stationary for so long. 1054, now it's all moving closer to O'Donnell, actually, as we look at the circulation center. So O'Donnell and that Highway 87 corridor, it's interesting that they closed that earlier on Highway 87, and now we're seeing that backtrack into that area where it might actually be more of the dangerous part of that storm. Still
Yeah,
not
and-
seeing an actual touchdown now on that, and it's just going through another recycle.
Yeah, and sometimes we'll see this, and don't be alarmed when you see some of the dust start to get picked up and you start to see dust actually kind of gently rise.
Yeah.
That's going to be the normal type of inflow that we see with storms like this. But it's in that kind of rising motion when we start to see it turn as well. That's when we think we might actually have a circulation. But right now, I'm just kind of seeing dust rise more than
Yeah.
anything else.
Not as ugly as it was earlier in terms of the dust concentration, but still dangerous storm. They say Weather Service update the former tornadic circulation is shifting southwest and weakened. They'll take Garza County out of the tornado warning for now, based on the fact that it was moving southeast and now moving a little more to the west. So at the moment, they're taking Garza County out of the tornado warning. Also, just unconfirmed tornado 2 miles northeast of O'Donnell. That's just a spotter indication that's
And I
close
think
to that
that's
area.
this right here.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what you're seeing on there in the velocity scan. And it is weakening, so maybe that will go ahead and fizzle out in the next hour with it not showing that green and red concentration like it was earlier. It's close to O'Donnell, and no doubt in that area you need to be in a safe spot if you're in O'Donnell, just in case. The new warning goes now till 7:15, still a 7:15. It's not stationary anymore, though. Well, the
Yeah.
storm is stationary, but the actual
But
tornadic
circulation.
circulation is moving south.
Yeah. So good advice there again for folks in O'Donnell. Need to remain alert along Highway 87. And again, 87, as far as we know, is closed at this time. But again, that is a very dangerous thunderstorm. You can see it on the live Doppler there. And again, warning in that southeastern areas. So anywhere between O'Donnell, but hopefully if that's the trend, that will be weakening, even though the general storm is stationary. And by the way, you can see some large hail, you could tell on the sweep there, well south of 380, all the way down to the east of Highway 87. No indications of what size that would be, but that again is a very intense thunderstorm there.
Exactly
along Highway 87, concerned about that activity just north and northeast of O'Donnell. And then back, are you guys looking at that appendage back to the northwest? Yeah, there's another appendage on the storm northwest. It doesn't mean anything initially, but we will be watching that closely and see what happens.
See on that here the last few minutes, and while there's some turning going on as you would normally see with a supercell, I'm not really seeing anything tight, low.
Right.
So, but it is, when you see a shape like that, we still need to watch out for it. We're keeping an eye on it.
And again, you can see that storm in general. Tornado warning is still in effect for a few more minutes. Be interesting to see, since it appears to be weakening, whether or not they extend that or not. But a large area of hail, again, generally from Highway 87 east of Highway 87 back off to the east. And again, we've got Brian, looks like he's moving once again. So he was looking northwest, and again, in that general area around Tahoka and grassland and stuff. So again, we don't know that anything is on the ground at this point, but we'll wait and see on the latest reports there. But again, you can see the warning still in effect. Folks around O'Donnell, you need to remain alert. And then we're obviously watching all that area around Tahoka, west of Tahoka. New Home, that is a severe thunderstorm in that area with the potential of some large hail. When you see that pinkish purple popping up, that indicates the area of likely hail with these thunderstorms on our Super Doppler HD3. So that is generally east-northeast of O'Donnell all the way up to Highway 380, and also to the west and northwest of Tahoka, back to the southwest of Tahoka. So you can see the spotty areas of hail there. We have no idea what size that would be, but again, generally that has been large, from 1 to 3 inches or so. And again, let's see what's coming in so far. 9 miles northwest of O'Donnell. Storm chaser now reporting a tornado as of 7:05. That would have been 5 minutes ago. Looking at that video a few minutes ago, that live video. But again, that's what we're getting from the National Weather Service. So at 7:09, they said spotter was 6 miles northeast of O'Donnell, Texas. Rotating wall cloud, and 6 miles to his northwest of O'Donnell. Then now another local storm report reporting 9 miles northwest of O'Donnell. Storm chaser reporting a tornado on the ground. So again, this is now O'Donnell, and what has happened is that circulation may have gone across Highway 87. I'm not sure how far our storm chaser Brian is from that location, but again, there may be a tornado on the ground here, and if so, that storm is actually kind of drifting west and could be a threat to the community of O'Donnell. So if you're in O'Donnell, we'll remind you again, just like with the other folks, you want to make sure that you're finding a low place, a cellar or a bathroom, or a low area or a basement.
Okay, just want to let folks in Tahoka and Lynn County know the important thing to note here, John. I'll get the important part out of the way first. 911 is still working, but radio lines and telephone lines, like for instance the non-emergency number into the sheriff's office right now, is down. But they do know they have power lines in the area. There are sporadic power outages across Lynn County, as you would expect with a storm like this and having that tornado on the ground. But we are getting significant damage reports, in particular with power lines, telephone lines, stuff like that. So once again, 911 is still working, but things like the non-emergency number right now into the sheriff's office in Lynn County is down.
All right. I certainly appreciate that. And again, you can see we're losing some of the image there, and I'll step on over into the radar, but now we can see a little bit better what it looks like. We're watching the live view from Brian, our chaser down in there, McMillan. And again, we're looking at O'Donnell here, looking for any red or green, and most of that is this area here. But the actual spotter report had some activity right here. And again, that was at about a few minutes ago, about 7:05, reporting northwest. National Weather Service reporting that chaser reporting a tornado in that area northwest of O'Donnell. So again, that would be in this general area, but you don't see the red and the green combinations there. You do see quite a bit of bright red along the green here. So again, we're watching for that storm. Nothing significant going on in Tahoka. Unfortunately, some power outages in that area. But as Adam just reported, you still have 911 capability, you just can't call directly. So now the National Weather Service is working on a new tornado warning for Lynn County. So that is this same general area, so we will wait and see what the specifics are coming in from that. But again, there is a tornado warning there. Adam?
Yeah, and John, real quick, I mean, we're starting to see some more dust underneath the storm. You can see it on the chaser video.
Definitely so.
But one thing I want to point out is you can look at that little notch on the very southern end of the storm. Not seeing a lot on kind of the wide view on velocities, but in, some of the other products that we have that we can see, there's still some very sharp turning going on in that notch area. So it almost looks like kind of like an embedded hook echo as such, and a wider echo of the wider radar beam of the storm itself. And then of course we still got that other storm on the west side of Lynn County that looks like it might be heading toward O'Donnell. There's still some turning with that. You can still see the appendage of that. We're still having to watch that storm. But still, obviously, even though we do not have a tornado on the ground at the very moment, these warnings, you need to be taking them seriously at home.
Oh, that is true, Adam. And I'm going to read what just came down from the National Weather Service again. Hail, let's see, at 7:45, a confirmed tornado located 7 miles northwest of O'Donnell, and that's 8 miles southeast of Tahoka. So northwest of O'Donnell, and pardon me, southwest of Tahoka. So northwest of O'Donnell, southwest of Tahoka by 8 miles, nearly stationary. Then another possible tornado located 9 miles southeast of Tahoka and was also nearly stationary. So we potentially have 2 tornadoes, at least one for sure, and another possible one 9 miles southeast of Tahoka, and then we have one 8 miles southwest of Tahoka, which is 7 miles northwest of O'Donnell. So I'm sorry if that sounds a little confusing there, but again, you can see on the radar where that general activity would be at this point. And again, it's going to be just northwest of O'Donnell and also to the southeast of Tahoka. So this general area here, that is why there's a new tornado warning just issued there from the National Weather Service. So a confirmed tornado located northwest of O'Donnell, so that would put one right here, and we have no idea what size or intensity with that storm. Another one is 8 miles southwest of Tahoka, or that same general area right here. And then also we have the one that is southeast of Tahoka. So all that information here kind of together. I'm going to back up just a little bit because I know you're looking at Brian and his live view there, and we can see a lot of dust and dirt and rain in the distance. It looks like, I'm stepping back, oh, he's zooming in just a little, moving around. There would be one tornado or maybe even landspout indicated there, and that may be the one, but I don't know if that's going to be the one to the northwest or to the southeast of Tahoka or to the northeast of O'Donnell. So again, we've got one live view there with our storm chaser Brian McMillan there, and we will figure out, hopefully from him, I'm going to look at my phone and see if he was able to get me a location. I kind of doubt it. Let's see here what he's saying. Trying at a funnel and it had dissipated, now reforming, and he's still generally, I think his location may have changed. The last we watched, last time I talked to him, he was northwest on Highway 213 looking northwest up at that storm. So again, you can see that storm, obviously some very intense lightning there, and then you can see the red and green mesh here. But the primary concern, again, either here or here, you could have tornadoes on either side there. So according to the National Weather Service, we're going to wait and see. And you can see that general rotation there. And throughout the life of this storm, Adam, it has produced dual wall clouds and then a couple of times possibly two tornado touchdowns.
Yeah, and when you have a storm like this that has a history of doing such things, I mean, it very well could do it again until the storm completely dissipates, in which case this storm is not anywhere near dissipating yet. Hey, it looked really good a minute ago. I think you can still see. If we go to Weather 4 just real quick, Ruben, our assistant news director, is out that way as well. And you can see the wall cloud also off in the distance as well. So it just kind of gives you a little better idea of the structure of the wall cloud a little bit further back than what Brian is right now. And I think it looks a little bit better on the computer monitor as far as the shading, but it's definitely there, but it's healthy. And that's one thing that we're seeing with the storm, and I keep bringing up the term healthy when we're talking about a severe thunderstorm, and that's because the storm has a lot of energy to work with, a lot of moisture, and we're still seeing that turning. Going back to the velocities again on the radar there, east of O'Donnell, and John, you brought it up and you hit the nail on the head, that's really starting to regenerate itself and starting to turn again, and we kind of thought that might happen on the backside of the storm. So that's going to be starting to kind of have to think about going down to Dawson and Borden counties here in the next little bit, especially if it continues kind of that general southward progression. And hopefully those stays to the east of O'Donnell, but still in O'Donnell, you need to keep an eye to the sky because it's still a dangerous situation for you.
Definitely so. We just got some information from the Lynn County Sheriff's Office that in Wilson, they've got a citywide power outage. So folks in Wilson have lost all of their power at this point. And let's go back to the other radar shot there, either Carrie or Adam there, if you could, and we'll take a look at that, and so we can see again maybe a little difference on that, give the overall view of where the storm is located and what's going on again. And you can see some of the old one here, the previous one, and then another one potentially right here. So we're looking at two, one here and one there, some very large hail, but this original storm is here. And again, you can see that south of Highway 380, there'd be a lot of large hail there, and you see how that rotation has come down. So the concern then again, and I'm going to see here, let's see, spotter network spotter north of O'Donnell, Texas. He's reporting multi-vortex tornado 200 yards to the south, and he is driving south. So interesting. That same general area right around O'Donnell. So folks in O'Donnell, you definitely need to be seeking shelter at this point. You need to be going to the small rooms, get as many walls around you as you can at this point. And again, that's where our primary concern is. Adam?
Yeah, and we just said it, and here it is. Tornado warning for northwestern Borden and northeastern Dawson counties. That's going to go until 7:45.
All right, thank you, sir. Yeah, that storm is just drifting generally south, and both of those systems could be impacting northern areas of Dawson County and Borden County as they work their way on to the south. And keep in mind, for folks in Wilson, you are in a citywide power outage right now, but again, you're not in the core of where there's any tornado activity, any large hail. I hope that you can get us through internet or maybe your internet service there. But again, looking at these Farm to Market Road 213 in this particular area, and again, if I back up, you can see that a little bit better. And now I'll step back in there. We can see these streets and stuff a little bit. Whoop, I'll step back out again. And I can come back in now. Okay, they have to get the technical things right there. Farm to Market 213, Farm to Market 1054, but here's the community of O'Donnell. So again, main thing is you guys need to be seeking shelter at this point. Smallest areas you can find: hallway, bathroom. Turn up the volume on your television set. Take our weather app in with your phone as well, and make sure you got a charger for your phone or emergency charger there so you can keep it in good shape for communication. Here's Highway 87 coming into O'Donnell. So reports were potential tornado here, and I don't see anything. I'm looking at Brian's video here. I see some dust, but it doesn't look like anything significant. We may go back to Brian here in a second. Then a possible another one here. I just don't know which one Brian was looking at, but I assume it may be this one based on the fact he was in the 213 area and looking a little bit northwest. So he may be actually in this general area between those two storm systems. So I'll back up and we can show you Brian. We understand the sirens are sounding in Tahoka, but the storm is actually still, unless it's changed in the last 5 minutes, south of Tahoka at this point. So multi-vortex tornado 2 miles to the south of one spotter who was just north of O'Donnell, Texas. So again, that's in that area where you've got to use caution there. So the biggest concern there, Carrie, obviously is going to be with O'Donnell, but we could have one here, and pardon me, I'm stepping out of my boundary area, but we could have one here, could have one here. That whole complex is drifting south. That's why there's now a warning in the extreme northern areas of Dawson County, Borden County. The storm at this point is not a threat to Lamesa, and it is not a threat to Gale. It is well to the north there. So again, that's where the primary concern is, these two areas there, Carrie.
And I will say this, over the last few scans, we're starting to see the original circulation, which started the whole event off northwest of Tahoka earlier, where it's starting to favor that parent thunderstorm, where rotation is showing up. The broader rotation is able to absorb the other portion of the storm merger. So now we're starting to see again that coming together. And unfortunately for that region, it looks like the tornado warning would continue based on what we're seeing there. It was not as pronounced over the last 30 minutes. We started seeing that first circulation getting absorbed. We come back to the velocity loop, you'll see that where we had that original circulation. I'll expand it out slightly. It's further south, of course, but now we're seeing that parent circulation center showing up again in southeast Lynn County, where it originally was, very close to Farm to Market 1054. East of O'Donnell, near the community of Draw, that original tornado that was showing up near O'Donnell is completely dissipated. And now we're seeing that becoming more organized again. Pretty typical of a supercell that is long-lived, a long track type of situation there, and again, nothing impeding the moisture coming in from the Gulf. So you have all those ingredients to suggest the storm is going to continue for a little while longer. Hopefully with the loss of daytime heating, we'll lose some of that. We'll go back to Brian McMillan's feed, although I lost him there for just a second. We had a pretty good view of some storm clouds. And also on First Bank and Trust Skycam, we can look at that real quick, how dark it is to the south of the city of Lubbock. So Lubbock, you're watching this and you're sitting here in the city wondering if that's going to impact us. That part of the storm will not, but it is very dark. You do not want to travel south of Lubbock towards Tahoka right now for any reason at all, just because the weather situation down here is so significant. If you're in the Lubbock area, stay put. You're still okay to get out in the Lubbock area as far as our storm potential is concerned. We've been focusing on this one storm for a while, but really nothing else showing up that's anything severe within our region. I will caution there is another area of storm development showing up northeast of, east of Meadow and west of Wilson, New Home area. So you're still getting that, and that's what you're seeing on that Skycam location, which is located 98th and Slide. You're seeing some of that storm activity in Lynn County, but also some new development taking place near the community of New Home. Looking at the radar view, O'Donnell, thunderstorm wind gusts 65 miles per hour. Of course, there's flooding, and that storm's been there for a while in Lynn County. Several inches of rain, more than likely, for some locations. Sirens are going off again in Tahoka. Adam, you have anything new to report?
Well, I just want to point out that, of course, outside of the general tornado threat and risk right now, we keep seeing these strong wind gusts in the O'Donnell area at the West Texas Mesonet Station there. So in addition to just general, just general hail damage and things like that, we also be talking about wind damage not associated with the tornado itself or potential tornado. So it's something to be watching out for with a storm that is in fact this strong. But starting to see a little bit more activity there on Brian's feed. Definitely some turbulent motion still going on in those clouds. Yeah, I might want to keep an eye on that.
The other thing that's interesting about how this storm is again strengthening in terms of velocity signature. So we've got again the possibility of a tornado touching down close to Draw. It's farm to market 1054 between the community of Draw and Gale, so it's getting into Borden County here pretty quickly. And again, the caprock is located right in there. That storm would probably intensify significantly once it gets off the caprock. We'll see. But again, on the radar motion, that has actually strengthened considerably over the last few scans, and in more typical of supercell structure, is probably going to overtake the rest of that storm and be the main point of interest for the next 30 minutes to an hour, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so. In particular, they're right east of O'Donnell. The edge of the caprock is literally right there. There's a little road that I like to take. I forget the number on it, but it goes down there, kind of skips La Mesa when you go down to see my parents in St. Angelo. And that's you're sitting there. You could look off that road, and there's the caprock. So
right.
That's we're starting to see that kind of upward motion. We still got good flow coming from the caprock area, and I like using my science terms. We call that orographic lifting, when the ground lifts the air, and that's what's happening with the storm right now. And it's like you still have, even though it's not the traditional way that you think of a hook echo, you still have a hook echo there looking at the higher returns on the radar.
Well, if you look at the precipitation, this is not velocity, but you can see the swirl of the rain cores still showing up. That's a sign that there's solid rotation in there. There's lighter shades showing up, a little bit of what would resemble a fish hook. That's what a hook echo is. So you can kind of tell when it does that, that's a sign that there's rapid motion, wind motion in the mid and upper level portion of a storm, drawing the rain around a certain area where there's upward motion. And that usually leaves an area when there's upward motion, rain doesn't reach the ground because of the upward push of air that's being sucked up into the storm, called the updraft. And when you see that, the precipitation is a little bit lighter. It gets a hook echo appearance because the rain is wrapping around that circulation. And that is what we're seeing south of FM 213 and along Farm to Market 1054. And there's also a lot of wind turbines right there in that region that probably, if there is a tornado, would be impacted by that. We'll see how that is showing up. But again, we match it up with velocity, and you can see on velocity mode it's still there and very tight. So again, we're getting not as many reports viewer-wise of a tornado on the ground. We do have Brian on there. Brian McMillan is still out there in the, I assume, O'Donnell area. And we've got the storm south of Lubbock. Lubbock's not impacted by this at all at this point. It will move into Borden County and starting to get back into a southeast motion. So let's put a track on there now that we're starting to see a little bit of a direction that we can rely on a little more. That particular tornadic portion, I'm going to start it with the circulation center, not necessarily with the heaviest rain. Movement is southeast, roughly 15, I think is what I had on there last check. So, and again, there's not many communities, but there are people and ranches and wind turbine farms all over there in that area that will be impacted by that circulation center. It's moving southeast, roughly 10 to 15 miles per hour. I know we don't quite well put Gale on the map, but Gale is close, and that is a storm for Gale to watch because Borden County would be right in the path as that storm maintains its motion. And there's something going on there too.
Seen it really kind of turn. Yeah, almost kind of, that actually, right there on the left, it almost looks like a condensation funnel and such, doesn't it?
Well, it's hard to tell.
Anything reaching the ground though. That's the case. So it'd be a funnel cloud, I think, at that point. Real quick. I want to go over to weather 4, please. And because the storm has been sitting out there turning, there's numerous power outages out that way. Maybe you're still watching this on generator. Maybe you can't reach family out that way because, well, also some phone lines down. But we do have about 1,500 people in that part of the county areas that are without power right now from the storm. So, but definitely want to go back over to radar in the live video here. Thank you for that.
And also the fire department EMS personnel in Tahoka area are reporting very strong east winds on the east side of Tahoka moving through the city. Mesonet may be able to detect that shortly to find out how high those wind gusts are. That's an outflow maybe. And if that's the case, then it would move towards Brownfield and back up closer to Lubbock, where new storms could pop up, although we're not seeing that right now. But outflow boundaries, when they start doing that, we're getting that strong east circulation, or it could also be the circulation around that mesocyclone, the actual rotation.
Right now, the general flow, at least at the surface around Tahoka, is still out of the southeast. Now, there's pretty strong winds, 20, 30 mile an hour winds, though, with that. So,
new tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm capable. It's radar indicated, though, at this point, not on the ground from what we know of. 8 miles east of O'Donnell, 13 miles southeast of Tahoka. It's now moving due south at 10 miles per hour. That is a slightly different motion than earlier. So putting a velocity on there, let's put it back to live radar view. And the storm, to me, lost its appendage a little bit. Maybe it'll weaken. I hope it does. But we have that tornado warning now until 7:45 for the next 15 minutes. O'Donnell's new warning, by the way, is now in effect until 7:45 as well. So O'Donnell, areas in northwest Borden County, northeast Dawson County. Between O'Donnell and Gale is the main primary area we're watching, and also for that back edge west of O'Donnell, there's some indication of a wall cloud there too. But those two circulations are the biggest portion of that storm that we're concerned about right now. It doesn't look as far as appendages go, as intense, but when you put velocity on there, you do see, again, evidence that there's still a circulation center, not as pronounced as earlier. So that's maybe the best thing I've seen, is it's not quite as bad as it looked earlier in terms of its velocity signature. But it's still there.
Yeah.
And
if you go back over to the reflectivity and you
also
just
getting a
leave it
drop.
circled up, I mean, you could still almost see a notch
Yeah.
kind of going in it. It's not a true echo, hook echo or anything like that, but there is a notch. And that's just an indication that, yeah, that's kind of pulling in more air going into that storm right now.
There's also a drop off the caprock. Makes it harder for the radar to see a signature of a tornado. When you drop 900 feet, you lose the ability to see the bottom of the storm. So it may become harder to detect on radar, and more of a reliable source from spotters who are out there, whether it be fire department or emergency personnel. Brian is still out there somewhere, but I know if that area is not very well covered cell phone speaking, so it may be very difficult for him to establish any imagery whatsoever. I don't know if we have any new pictures or video showing up on our Facebook page that we can use, or on our, if you do, we haven't mentioned that in a while, you can send us your photos, weather@kcbd.com. You can post them to John Robinson's Facebook page, my Facebook page, KCBD News Channel 11 Facebook page. If you have any damage, if you have any signs of tornadic development or hail to share with us, we encourage you to do that. And as we've mentioned earlier this evening, a good time to download the KCBD Weather app. It is free. Search KCBD Weather at the App Store. You can actually, on your smartphone, no matter where you're at, upload your storm pictures, whether you're on the road or whether you live there. And I will say now it has tightened up, a new circulation center has tightened up west, to closer to O'Donnell in this last scan. But it's very hard to tell. I'll animate it just to make sure it's not a fluke, because once in a while you see that, and there are wind turbines out there that sometimes interfere with it, but something's going on there east of O'Donnell, southeast.
Yeah, well, there'll be an area we got to keep an eye on. Hey, starting to get lots of video. You talked about that. We get a chance here to reset the radar real quick. Hey, coming in from Caleb Patterson, this is earlier on with the large stovepipe tornado that we saw along Highway 87 near Tahoka. So more fantastic video. One of the features I like about this particular video is right near the base of that wall cloud. You almost see a little bit of mammatus, like really sharp mammatus, which is pretty neat. But
a lot of turbulence.
Yeah, lots of turbulence with this, which is pretty typical. But still a dangerous storm. But thankfully, right now, no stovepipe tornadoes at least being reported on the ground right now, like we had earlier.
And Brian McMillan's video is back on track too. We could look at that. It is showing him somewhere. I'm assuming he's close. It looks like Farm to Market, so I'd be guessing 213 east of O'Donnell. He's moving into that storm that's probably moving into Borden County, so it's hard to tell what he's got there, but obviously it's still a lot of dust in the air. And we now have a measured gust of 68 miles per hour being reported at the Mesonet site in O'Donnell, which may just be a direct result of some of the wraparound from that circulation center that velocity is showing.
Yeah, and let's think about that for a second. I mean, that means about the last 15-20 minutes of near constant 60+ mile an hour winds in O'Donnell. I mean, so that's
storm damage would be even through roof and siding would be there. John?
Yeah, it's amazing. In watching Brian's video there, he's been fortunate. A couple of times he's gone through farm to market dirt roads, but they weren't that wet, so the rain area has been enough that he's been able to chase. Obviously he's on pavement now, but again, the storm system still tracking to the south. Not a threat to the Lubbock area, obviously, but still a potential threat anywhere around O'Donnell, possibly Tahoka, but really the core of the threat is down here. There's still some redevelopment taking place, some development throughout Lynn County. Biggest concern really is edged up into the northeastern corner of Dawson County, but it's not a threat to the community of Lamesa. Also, northwestern areas of Borden County. Right now, it's not a threat to Gale. Now, if it continues tracking south or veers a little bit to the southeast, then this broad area of circulation could have the capability of producing a tornado. We don't know that for sure at this point. They continue to watch it close, but this is one of those where the thunderstorm is capable of producing a tornado. And again, you can see it just slowly edging down into this area. Here's your county lines and the county lines here. Some large hail, by the way, in the areas well southwest of Post, but it looks like that extends really right along the Garza County line and the Lynn County line. And our indications are of 1-inch size hail, but based on what this storm has done off and on through the evening, I wouldn't be surprised to see some larger hail associated with this storm, along with the strong winds overall. But you can see that tracking generally south and maybe a little bit southeast with that storm system in general. So that is a very large area of hail. And as you're looking at the dual screen here, you can see again Brian McMillan, our storm chaser, down in that area. So he's chasing down to get a better vantage point. He had to kind of change positions there to get in a safe area. But again, this is moving south. Now this particular scan says moving southwest, and look at that, there's much larger size hail indicated on this scan, close to 3 inches in diameter. So again, this is still a very intense storm system. I can't quite read what county road that is there, at least on this monitor.
213 and 1054.
213, still in that same area.
Same area draw.
amazing there. And again, it continues to track, but in this case it says southwest. Overall though, storm motion is generally to the south. So again, you can see, and there's 213, 1054. Here's O'Donnell. Looks like there may be some very large hail north of you on Highway 87. Looks like it's just moderate to heavy rainfall in Tahoka. Good news there. Showers in Wilson, and again, we understand at least about 15 minutes ago there was a potential there for power outage. Let's see, seeing a chaser picture via Twitter apparently shows a wedge tornado now near Draw, Texas, and this, I'm reading this right off our chat line. That's going to be 10 miles east northeast of O'Donnell, and that was at 7:35. That was 2 minutes ago. So again, here's the rotation overall with the storm. But they're talking about, if we get back over to O'Donnell, you get kind of an idea, but we're talking about 10 miles east northeast of O'Donnell, and that was about 2 minutes ago. Circulation is nearly stationary. So again, this storm system is just kind of wobbling actually in this same general area here of 213 and 1054. Some circulation rotating with that, and they say this is a wedge tornado near Draw, Texas. So again, you want to make sure that you seek shelter immediately. I'm sure you're probably already in a safe place. I hope so. We've been emphasizing that for the last hour or so. But again, look at the large hail that could be associated with this storm. Remember, a few minutes ago it was indicating hail potential up to 3 inches in diameter. So still a dangerous thunderstorm. Here's the community of O'Donnell here. The storm was close to O'Donnell over the last 30 minutes or so, but now the threat is back around the community of Draw, right in this general area here. So you've got to remain quite alert to what is going on. You can see the brighter reds indicated right here. And they're kind of reaching down very little bit down into the northwest corner of Borden County and maybe just slightly in the northeastern areas of Dawson County. That's why there's warnings, tornado warnings for Dawson and Borden counties, but really the threat continues to be primarily Lynn County and over towards the southeastern corner of Lynn County. So once again, still a very dangerous thunderstorm located in this broad area with the circulation occurring right here. So, and it has produced some very strong winds along the way, maybe some damage, although there were some power lines down along Highway 87. We know earlier there was some large hail along Highway 380, but again, we're waiting to see. We actually keep looking at the chat line, which is information from the National Weather Service. It's here in front so that I can read it and Carrie can read it to my right and Adam as well. So again, we continue to look at that for reference, and we have our storm chaser Brian out, and I've gotten intermittent information from him depending on his cell signal. Right now I'm not sure where he is. He's down in the rain area though, and he's on one of those farm to market roads likely, but obviously it's a paved farm to market road. A little risky to get off on those dirt ones at this point. Carrie, what do you think?
Yes, absolutely. You want to stay on pavement for that. Just chasing, you end up with that sand and cotton fields and stuff. You end up getting stuck, and that makes it more dangerous. Hopefully folks in there are in their safe shelters and in their safe spots. I put the community of Draw right in here because it didn't show up on our radar. I just made a text version. Draw is basically right near the intersection of 213 and 1054, the community of Draw. And this is an area that is under the tornado warning and underneath the circulation right there. So in that area, you're watching pretty broad circulation. A wedge tornado has been reported there in the Draw area, which is near FM 213 and FM 1054. Then it drops off the caprock. There's a lot of wind turbines right there. I've been through that region. There are hundreds of wind turbines in that vicinity that are also being impacted, and there are actual offices in that area where they maintain those wind turbines, so to speak. I don't know. We haven't had any damage reported in that area, but that whole 10-mile area from 15-mile area from Tahoka to Draw has been hit hard over the last hour. And it's now moving south, as you mentioned before. It's very hard to say what it's going to do because it's sitting right there on the edge of the caprock. But if you put a velocity loop on it, you can see the motion starting to ramp up again. You start seeing the spiral motion that is very close to Draw, the community itself. And again, sitting nearly stationary. But I think overall it's going to do what it did before. It's going to start wrapping around and pushing more to the south and southeast over time. That would be what would most likely happen theoretically. But again, it's hard to say. We can't put a tracker on it again because it's going through a stage of recycling. but it's a threat still to areas near Draw. It's a threat to Gale. It's a threat to northwest Borden County. There is a tornado warning on that. I'll put the warning map up again just so you see it until 7:45. There's nothing new that the Weather Service has reported other than that the circulation center is still stationary. And around 7:35, which was 7 minutes ago, they had a Wedge tornado on the ground near Draw, the community of Draw, Texas. Brian McMillan is still out there. It's hard to tell where he is, but you want to avoid getting it off of the road in terms of ending up in mud. That will end up with you going nowhere in a hurry and nobody to be able to go out and pull you out either. So with all that rain, you're going to have that issue. Stay on the pavement. If you try to be, if you're on there just as a resident in that area, stay in your safe spots. Don't get on the roads at all. That's the best warning and advice we could give to you there. There's a new warning coming out. Tornado warning again for the O'Donnell area. No, east of O'Donnell, 8 miles east.
Definitely so. Looks like 8:15 on that.
It's going till 8:15, 30 minutes from now, and that's valid because of, again, the rotation. This has been roughly 3 or 4 hours that this has been going on now. And it's just the same storm.
It is amazing. I think we started at 5 minutes till 4.
It's the same storm that moved over Lubbock. It's that very same cell. And again, just, it moved out of the city. But we still have that same storm now that's had multiple touchdowns. And power lines have been reported down. Still loss of power in many areas. That ping pong ball size hail and tornado warning will continue on that cell. And that's Borden and Dawson County that are in there. And they did put part of southeastern Lynn County as well. So they're going to say if you live in O'Donnell, to go ahead and stay in your safe spot. If you're in the community of Draw, stay in your safe spot. It is moving southeast now at a very slow 5 to 10 mile per hour pace. There's possibility with that tornado on the ground that there's flying debris around it as well. Make sure to stay away from your windows. This type of damage from this storm could also cause damage to your roof, your house, windows and vehicles, obviously, tree damage likely. I'm just quoting the Weather Service on that. You need to go to your lowest floor. We have our safety tip. Let's pop that up again. We haven't put that up in a while. To stay indoors, of course. That's the main thing. And a basement if you have one. Lowest floor of a sturdy building if you can. If you're caught in the open road, it's not a good thing. You want to try to find a sturdy shelter as much as you can. Try to get underground. In the middle of a building, you want to stay in the middle mainly because that gives you extra walls to protect yourself, not just the outer walls of your house, but another outer wall like a bathroom in the middle of the house gives you 4, maybe 8 walls that way. So the more walls around you, the better. Stay underground. The lowest floor, we mentioned that, and cover yourself with a pillow or a blanket, coat, helmets. Weather Service encourages football helmets, bike helmets, you name it, just to cover your head. And that's just in case something were to, like a tree, for example, causes damage to your house. So those are the things to remember. A mattress is another one. Pillows also. And be in a bathtub area. So those are the main safety tips that we want to make sure you're aware of. Coming back to the radar real quick, there's still rotation showing up. And John, it just doesn't want to diminish. It's a long track storm, as we were talking about an hour ago. It had potential to be a long track tornado.
Oh, that is true. And it's just kind of edging into those northern areas in both Dawson and Borden counties, as you mentioned there, Carrie. And again, the rotation just in this same general area, but folks in O'Donnell should remain alert and in your safe area. Folks in Draw especially remain alert, stay in your safe area. And you can see that general rotation taking place. You can see also on the other screen here, this is our storm chaser, Brian McMillan, making his way, and we don't know which road. He was on 213 earlier, but I do not know for sure where. I'm just glad we're getting a signal from him. He's in an open area there, so he gets a little closer to that storm. We'll have a better idea of what's taking place. But again, it's in the south and southeastern areas of Lynn County, just a very small part of Lynn County. Obviously, the storm extends over into parts of southwestern Garza County and the northern areas of Borden County. So again, a very intense thunderstorm overall. The rain potential still extends back over to O'Donnell and right along Highway 87 and will make its way a little bit to the south. And we might switch to the radar view, if you would there, Carrie, and let's take a look just to give folks a broader overview of what's going on. A reminder, there's still a tornado watch. You can see the wrap-up of that storm there. And if you'll expand it out, I just want to talk a little bit right now, since we're kind of in a semi-stationary stage waiting to see what this storm does. If you expand out, you'll be able to see if there's any other showers and storms in the area. I know here in Lubbock earlier we got about a half an inch of rainfall, but there's only a few light showers north of Silverton up into the Texas Panhandle. Moderate showers making their way through the Jayton area. Looks like there may be some kind of a boundary of showers here making their way down towards this supercell, which again is just drifting. You can actually see the circulation even on this wide view, Carrie. Notice that. And again, originating in the Lubbock area near Wolford and then swinging southeast, then south, just developing onto the south. A couple of mergers in with that original storm really led to intensification. Very large storm. It covers all the way over still to near the Post area down to the southwestern areas of Garza County. There are a few short storms around the Lake Allen Henry area, but the core of that is easy to follow. You can see the track of that, how it came to the south and southeast, all the way down to the southeastern corner of Lynn County, so slowly making its way south through that region, just along the northern areas of Dawson County and Borden County. And we continue to watch and see if there's anything new coming up. But the latest thing was a warning issued 7:42, but at this point, still a tornado warning in effect. Adam?
Okay, so if we can go ahead and take weather 4 real quick while we're kind of in a wait and see pattern to see what's going to happen with this. This is some of the damage that we're starting to see along Highway 380. Power poles and telephone lines snapped off at the bases. That's important to note. It looks like there's some farm equipment out in the middle of that field that was damaged. So this is part of the reason why we were talking about earlier in Lynn County particularly, 911 service is working, but some of the landlines going into the sheriff's office and things, so that would affect things like the non-emergency number, are down right now, but 911 service is working.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I don't see any wind turbines down there. I don't know if that's what you were thinking, Carrie, but I don't see any turbines down at this point. That's quite interesting.
Not in that shop, but there are hundreds of them in that area.
Yeah.
And if you had winds that were strong enough, that would cause damage.
And I think that's one of those ones that I think we can almost guarantee you there's probably some wind turbines down out there. We just haven't seen any pictures of it yet. But I mean, there's enough of them and they're prolific enough that there's probably some problems.
So
one almost every 50 yards.
Yeah. And look at the water ponding there along the service areas and right on the shoulders still, even from this photo. So there's no telling how much rainfall has occurred in parts of Lynn County. If we go back to Brian now, we can show you what has taken place there, what he's looking at. Getting a little bit closer there. Maybe we can tell which road. Whenever he's at a safe stopping place, I will text him again and see if we can figure out. At least he is on a paved road. So now we're going back to some direction. I'd like to say west or south. Some sun evident there where he is, with the storm structure further away from him. So, yeah.
And we're getting close to sunset.
See, we couldn't quite read that, but
he's on 380.
Is he?
And I'd probably heading to the Post area, because if he really were to go down 1054 and there's that kind of damage, he runs the risk of getting caught with no place to go. So he's probably taking the best available highway to get to Post. When you see a little bit of reflection of maybe some hail that's showing up, or the hail fog that we associate after large hail has fallen, you sometimes see hail fog, and that's kind of what that looks like. Other night. Yeah, you were up in Lockney or something and saw that, Floydada. But he's on 380 going east. You can tell by the sun angle on the signs that he's going east towards Post, what I can tell right there.
Quite interesting. A little bit of traffic out there, but not very much, obviously, fortunately.
There's a lot of lightning. You can see that.
Intense lightning, yeah.
And the other thing is, Lynn County, at least from Tahoka to Post, is not in the warning right now. So it's actually the rotation part of the storm is further south. The tornado warning is expired for Lynn County at the moment. So it's they do have a tornado warning, but it's the extreme southern and eastern part of Lynn County, closer to O'Donnell. So at this point, I think 380 is not in a tornado risk, but flood risk, because there is a flood warning also in effect until 9:45 for that same area, because of all the intense rain that was reported in that region too. So at this point, I think 380 is safe other than the flood risk, and there's lightning and still some heavy rain, but the hail and the tornadic risk is further south.
Yeah, you can see that activity, and again, you can see that storm, and you can see obviously a little bit of sunlight where he is, still sprinkling a little bit, but again, he'll get a little closer. We'll get a better idea what that storm looks like. still a dangerous thunderstorm for folks in a community of Draw. Even Grassland, they should remain alert, and the folks in O'Donnell, that same general area, but it appears that it's working its way very slowly, primarily into the northwest corner of Dawson County, and the heavy rain and maybe lightning and hail may be moving into the northwest corner of Borden County and the northeast corner of Dawson County, pardon me. So again, that system drifting on to the south there in the northern areas of those two counties, and that's where the warning is currently in effect as far as a tornado warning. Remainder of heavy rainfall still occurring in the southwest corner of Garza County. I know we're giving you a lot of counties there, but again, give you that general coverage area, and still some thunderstorm activity here in Kent County, around Claremont, north of Claremont, north of Jayton. And that activity, by the way, was drifting southeast, but there's no warnings that I'm aware of in the Kent County area for that storm, or back up towards Paducah in the King County area. Our core continues to be this one intense supercell located right here, southeastern corner of Lynn County, and you can see the rotation with that, and again, making its way in the extreme northeastern corner of Dawson County. It's really not a threat to Lamesa at this point. It's primarily a threat to those communities between O'Donnell, Draw, and Grassland, and it may be more of a threat. The rotation may be far enough south now, and maybe more of a threat just in the open areas of Dawson County and Borden County. But folks in Draw and Grassland, you need to remain alert just in case something new comes up with this. The last report we had was about 7:45, so nothing new has been issued since then. And you can see the heavy rainfall with that, and you can see that storm system rotating on to the south and the leading edge of it. And by the way, rainfall amounts, it'll be interesting to see over the next 24 hours how much rain fell in the southeastern corner of Lynn County. There is some new storm development I do want to mention here out to the southwest of Tahoka and just along Highway 87, and maybe a few sprinkles down in the southeastern corner of Lubbock County, but that is about it. A few areas of light showers, Crosby County, a little activity in the Dawson County area, and back around the community of Guthrie and King County. Showers have moved out of that region, but they're still near the Jayton area. And it looks like thunderstorm warning now till 8:45. And is that going into effect down in the Dawson area?
That's going
or
to be
Borden?
for those in Gale,
Oh.
Lamesa, anywhere along Highway 87, Ranch Road 1210, Ranch Road 1054. Lamesa is, of course, in that area. And Gale. The Weather Service in Midland issued a severe thunderstorm warning, probably with a tornado possible. We actually don't have Midland's chat. We may check on that and adding them to the chat list. But anyhow, that is a severe thunderstorm capable of still producing a tornado. They haven't excluded that possibility, but they're going to wait for the tornado warning that Lubbock has until 8:15 to expire before they reissue a tornado warning or decide not to do that. But anyway, it is time, if you're in Gale, to go ahead and start watching this storm very carefully. I can't tell where Brian McMillan is either. He's in a town, looks like Post, maybe, or Tahoka, one or the other. But I would say Post. Anyhow, he's probably trying to get down into Borden County, and it's hard to say. I would say that's Post, just guessing. Anyhow, if you're in Gale, it's a good time now while you have time, because that storm is still 20 miles north of you, and it has had a history of producing a tornado that you need to be considering your safe spots, at least getting them cleaned out if you haven't used them in a while. You still have time to do that in the Gale area because it is drifting in your direction. Just putting a velocity on there, it's not as pronounced anymore. But another issue you have is once a storm gets down off the caprock, it loses the ability for the radar to pick up on rotation as much. So
Live while you guys are talking, just to show what it looks like where he's traveling through, what community that is.
Yeah, and that does look like Posts there.
the light will tell you.
Also, how about some good news? Severe thunderstorm watch canceled for Bailey, Cochran, and Palmer counties. More stable air is moving in behind the storm system, so starting to trim away at that watch area, which is good news. Hey, also, some other more damage pictures along Highway 380, seeing some center pivots being, wrecked like ragdolls is pretty much. I mean, that's the kind of storms that we've been seeing here for today. So significant damage out there to the center pivots, other farm equipment. Still haven't seen anything about the turbines, but we also saw the power poles snapped earlier as well.
All right, thanks there, Adam. And again, as we go back to Brian, you can see we're trying to figure out what community there for sure. We would think that's post,
Looks
but I think
like
we
post.
just, his signal just gave way again, once
But-
again in that area.
on
But
here.
again, he is tracking down through that area, trying to get on a better side, a better view of that storm system. But again, you see the
could be
boundary
Lamesa.
where the tornado
No, it
warning
can't
is
be
at this
Lamesa.
point,
It's
extending from northeastern Dawson
there's a
County
stripe.
into the
Phillips
northern
66
areas.
there.
Really,
Yeah,
it
there's
is
a
now
stripes
broadened
in,
out as far as the
There's a
storm.
Phillips 66
More of it
in
is
post.
getting
I don't think
into the
there's one in
Borden
Mesa.
County area. It is drifting
the
generally
stripes.
south, maybe a little bit to the southeast. Some cores of very heavy rainfall and hail located in the southeastern areas of Lynn County and the southwestern areas of Garza County. So the storm continues to track on to the south. And I do want to mention we have a new update that just came in. Radar indicating hail at least 2 inches approximately at about 8:15. At 7:57, at least the hail potential through 8:15. At 7:57, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located 6 miles east of O'Donnell and 14 miles south of Tahoka. And they say still moving southwest, but the general overall growth is to the south. So we're indicating the storm here they're concerned about a little bit. So there's a warning on this particular area here with this storm. It appears to be drifting maybe a little bit to the southwest. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning for this area. Just from the Tahoka area back to the southwest, probably includes the O'Donnell area. Then we pick up the tornado, pardon me, tornado warning here in both Dawson and in Borden counties, down not quite to Lamesa at this point. Does include the Gale community, and it looks like more of the storm is drifting down into northern Borden County, extending all the way back almost to Highway 380. So again, check and see what here. We've got a new update again from the Weather Service. 7 miles west of Gale, we've got a spotter. Says there are 2 tornadoes 10 miles to the northwest. So again, this came in from a storm chaser. So you've got 7 miles west. This is a community of Gale right here. Confirmed tornado located 7 miles east of O'Donnell. Well, that's from the Midland Weather Service here. Let me shift gears here a little bit. Confirmed tornado located 7 miles east of O'Donnell, 15 miles south of Tahoka, and is nearly stationary. So I'm getting information from 2 different sites here. But again, the previous one was spotter was 7 miles west of Gale with possibly 2 tornadoes. So again, there's indications, at least from a spotter, west of Gale of possibly 2 tornadoes in this area. So we're going to go back. I think, Carrie, you guys see something from Brian there? I don't see anything there. Okay. So again, we're staying on this. So you can see that activity reaching down south, but I do want to remind folks there is a thunderstorm warning with this one. Maybe some large hail indicated here just south of Tahoka and northwest of O'Donnell. So again, the core of the storm still a big concern right here along the Dawson and Borden County lines, and that is drifting generally to the south. And again, the large hail in and around, possibly still around Grassland and still possibly around the Draw community as that storm tracks on to the south. It looks like it is well to the northwest of Gale now, but we've mentioned earlier, Carrie mentioned there, and a good idea in general, you want to make sure in Gale that you might be making your preparations now. Potentially, should we have a tornado warning extended down to your area, very strong thunderstorm in this region. It's the one that's produced numerous tornadoes off and on during the last couple of hours, all the way from Lynn County down into the northwest areas of both Borden and Dawson County. That's where that storm is tracking now. So far, the confirmed tornadoes have been back up in Lynn County, but a couple of storm chasers and also radar indicating some tornado potential along this storm as it drifts on to the south.
Yeah, more pictures to show. Continue to get a lot, and thank you guys so much for sending these in. This is along Highway 1054 around the Tahoka area. This is right in the area where we saw all the circulation just kind of drop straight down the highway, but you can see the road flooded, all the farmland around it flooded. Roads pretty much still impassable. That's going to take a while to drain out and roads become passable again. So
that
significant
is
flooding along
amazing. Yeah.
1054.
Yeah, that is amazing down there. So again, you want to be careful if you're traveling out later tonight or if you have to get out and head to work, school tomorrow morning. A lot of those farm to market roads may still be impassable due to the heavy rain that we've had over the last few hours in that area. So once again, we still have the tornado warning in effect, but we have the flooded roads that are occurring generally in this part of Lynn County. Just want to make you aware of that. Traveling late tonight, early tomorrow morning along Highway 87. Still a strong storm here drifting generally southwest, while this portion of the storm is drifting generally to the south. And again, potential tornadoes indicated, a couple of storm chasers indicating those west, maybe northwest more of Gale than anything. And then again, some reports east of O'Donnell. So still in this same general area. We're very concerned with the circulation with this storm. It doesn't want to give up, continues to track to the south, but as we approach sunset, that may help out some with decreasing the potential for a tornado development there. But once again, that storm is making its way into Dawson County, making its way into Borden County, will eventually impact Gale, could eventually impact Lamesa, but really the biggest town in the path of this storm would be the community of Gale, and the core of the storm really right in this general area. If it stays on a south track, fortunately the core of that would stay between Lamesa and Gale, shifts a little bit to the southeast, and you're going to look at that impacting Gale as it moves through that region. Also rain occurring in Post, but this is not severe. Rain in the southwest corner of Garzon County, then back in the southeast corner of Lynn County. Very heavy rainfall as well there. Quick look, we'll take a look at Brian here and show him as he travels down through Lynn County, and he's kind of in the open area now, so he's making a little bit of headway, trying to get down to get a better position on that storm. Unfortunately, we're still getting cell service down in there, Kerry, but again, do you have some new info there?
No, not really. We don't see as much of a pronounced velocity signature. Again, that could be for a couple of reasons. Could be the caprock and the location, the fact that it's lower altitude than Lubbock radar. In fact, I'm going to turn on Midland's radar because it might have a better scan of what's going on underneath that storm, and give it a second to update. But nonetheless, it's still, the last report we had unconfirmed was an unofficial, we should say, was the tornado. Two of them reported 10 miles northwest of Gale in Borden County, pardon me. And also we're seeing, I guess that would be, can't tell where that is, Mesquite is a community down there, not the Mesquite that you would think of in Dallas-Fort Worth. This is a smaller community of Mesquite, 3 miles southeast of Mesquite. That's a very small community. I believe that's in either Dawson or Borden. It's an update to that last tornado report. It says 3 spotters reported 2 tornadoes had formed, and closer spotters over the mountain. Those who know that area, there's a mountain there. They call it Borden Mountain or Gale Mountain or something like that. It's a mountain. They have not confirmed at this time whether or not there were 2 of them or not. And the Weather Service out of Midland is suggesting that tornadic cell is starting to move more and again wrap back up. That's according to the National Weather Service out of Midland. Midland issues, the National Weather Service issues warnings for Dawson, Borden, Gaines, and Scurry County. So Lubbock's Weather Service issues up to those county lines. So again, on rotation, I'm not seeing as much on there, at least on the live radar view. Nonetheless, you do have the tornado warning, which will continue until 8:30 in the next 25 minutes. And that is showing up 15 miles northwest of Gale. Weather spotters, of course, confirming the 2 tornadoes we mentioned. They call it a damaging tornado. Golf ball size hail is also possible. It is moving to, it's nearly stationary according to them. So again, we're looking at that tornado warning. If you're in Gale, you need to be in your safe spots regardless. That storm is coming your general direction, and at the very least you'll have a risk of large hail, golf ball size potentially or larger, with 70 mile per hour wind gust potential. Gale and Lamesa may be impacted by the high winds. If I shift the radar view a little bit over, Lamesa you can see on the bottom left and Gale on the bottom right. So Lamesa is just basically the north side of Lamesa. We'll just mention there that the winds are probably the biggest hazard at this moment. But the reason Lamesa is under the warning, even though the tornadic portion is further north, is because we have another cell west of Tahoka that is still very strong and will be tracking your direction. Nearly stationary motion detected by radar, and we could see that again. So putting a tracker on this at the moment is probably not going to be reliable. I do think it'll move south and southeast over time. It's been doing that most of the night, and even when it recycles and goes stationary, it has a tendency to go south-southeast. So Gale in particular is a region where you need to be watching out, because that's where the tornadic circulation was and also where the largest hail potential was.
Yeah, and O'Donnell continues to be just hammered by severe winds. Latest latest wind gust right now on O'Donnell is 74 miles per hour, and that was just at 8 o'clock. So significant winds still for folks in O'Donnell. Near severe or at severe winds now for over an hour.
They've had 60 to 70 mile an hour winds for at least an hour long duration there. And that is probably very common across southern Lynn County, northern Dawson, and northern Borden, as well as southwest portions of Garza County. Strong winds still occurring. That entire thunderstorm complex is still severe. And again, it's the only storm in our viewing area that is severe, at least at this point. So expand the view. I do want to mention a couple other things that are going on. There are new storms forming from Brownfield to Tahoka and a little bit closer to Lubbock. They did not cancel Lubbock out of the watch. They did cancel the extreme western part of the area, Muleshoe, down to Morton area. But there's still a severe thunderstorm watch that includes the Lubbock region. So I want to put the watch map up just to give you the latest information for all of us and who is still at risk, who needs to watch, and who can kind of relax a little bit. And this still goes till 11 p.m. Nothing really going on but that Tahoka storm, but Muleshoe's out, Morton's out, but Lubbock is still under the severe thunderstorm watch. The reason why is we did watch about an hour ago an outflow boundary get kicked out from that Lynn County storm, one of them anyway. So, and it brought a wind out of the east. We have an east wind now at News Channel 11 that peaked at 31 miles per hour. So while this has all been going on, we did get an outflow boundary that rode through Lubbock, and that is reason why we could see additional storms like we're seeing around Brownfield that are just now starting to pop up along that outflow boundary. So again, we're not quite finished with the severe weather risk, even for the city of Lubbock, potentially. As you can see, those storms getting a little closer to us again from Tahoka area.
Yeah, I know, making our way south. I do want to mention our storm chaser there, Brian, reported that power is out in most of Tahoka at this point. He's in Tahoka there, so we don't have a signal from him at this point. But again, because of the intense wind, rainfall, power poles down in that general area of Lynn County, the power is out, we understand, in Tahoka. We hope the folks down there are able to get us through cable and wireless, other features, or cell towers, we hope. But anyway, it's just for your information. If you're trying to contact anybody in Tahoka, then you may not be able to reach them because power is out in that community. And about an hour ago, I think it was, Wilson, power was out there. We haven't heard a confirmation, at least I haven't. The power is back up in the Wilson area, but we'll check on that. But again, this storm just slowly creeping its way down, reaching a little bit further down to the western areas of Borden County, just to the northwest of the community of Gale. There's still a tornado warning in effect there. It looks like it may primarily be our concern, shaping up in the northwest areas of Borden County. Just heavy rainfall back in Lynn County. Another thunderstorm still tracking its way between Tahoka and Brownfield. And there's actually, as you mentioned, Carrie, a little buildup there on the outflow boundary, Brownfield, all the way down to western areas of Lynn County, assuming that possibly that will not become severe as we approach sunset and the air begins to stabilize a little bit more. We may have to wait and see. But again, down in the southeastern areas of Lynn County, remain alert. Obviously, northwestern areas of Borden County. I know a lot of farming, ranching takes place down in the Borden County area, in and around Gale. So I know a lot of individual farmers, ranchers down there. You need to remain alert. Things may have calmed down a little bit. May not be quite so intense with the lightning, but again, the storm's still showing some circulation. So keep in mind the safety tips. You know, should we tell you there is a tornado on the ground, we will let you know, and you'll need to seek shelter immediately. I want to read here, the severe thunderstorm warning is replacing the tornado warning for Lynn County. That's not Dawson and Borden, but that's Lynn County. So in Lynn County, you're in pretty good shape there because the tornado warning has been changed to a thunderstorm warning there. Tornado safety, a quick reminder there. Again, inside, if you're not already, don't try to outrun a tornado. As far into your building as possible. You want as many walls as you can get around you, whether you're in a bathroom or whatever. And let me check here. Weather Service, well, let me finish this and I'll look at that. But the Weather Service is reporting a definitive funnel cloud but they don't know that it's on the ground. So if it's not touching the ground, it is a funnel cloud. This is the National Weather Service out of Midland. We're now working with counties that are covered by Midland, Odessa National Weather Service, not the Lubbock National Weather Service, once we get out of Lynn County. So down in the Borden, Dawson County, Gaines County area, Scurry County, those are under the coverage of the National Weather Service in Midland. So they have a tower cam and they're watching that, and they do see some definitive funnel there. And once again, basement, cellar are great if you still happen to have a cellar, and lowest floor possible. So if you live in an apartment complex or if you have a two-story house, you want to be on the lowest floor. Many walls you get around you. Obviously bathrooms are great, closets, hallways, and even underneath the stairs. That's a great way to get. You can grab pillows, blankets. Usually I say don't do mattresses unless they're small. You may not have time to mess with them, because a lot of time is a continuing or a current issue you got to deal with. Helmets and coats, anything really to cover your body. That's the idea. Instead of lugging around a mattress, you want to do whatever's easy to get so that you can get covered up, get in the closet, get in the bathroom, get in the hallway. So once again, that's what's taking place there. A couple of more reports here. Let's see here. Thunderstorm wind gust of 74 miles an hour. Still around 1 mile north of O'Donnell, and that was as of 8:12, just currently turned in at the National Weather Service from their information. And this was from the National Weather Service in Lubbock with the wind speeds in O'Donnell still that strong, up to 70 plus miles per hour. And again, we're looking at this storm here, biggest concern right in this general area right here. So it's still quite a distance from Gale, and again, it's still trying to get an appendage there. The circulation may not be as well defined. It's hard to tell there. That would be good news as we approach sunset. Hopefully the air is stabilizing a little bit more. Still some rather large hail in parts of southeastern Lynn County, extreme southwestern Garza County, and again that was close to 2 inches in diameter, may even be larger than that in this core area right here, or at least mixed with the hail that's smaller, and potential up to 3 inches there. Moving generally south, that's been the trend. It has just expanded out a little bit more to the east, but not so much to the west into the northwest corner of Dawson County. So really, this is our primary storm of concern at this point. Overall, tracking basically south, covering well of what, about two, or will eventually cover about 2/3 of it looks like the areas of Borden County, but it is on a track towards Gale at this point. Fortunately, moderate to heavy rainfall headed for Gale. The severe part of the storm, if it stays on a south track, will not be a threat to Gale, but you can't let your guard down. You've got to be prepared. Take action immediately if you need to, especially if you happen to go under a tornado warning. Right now, that area, Gale, you're just under a thunderstorm warning, and then as you look over back into Dawson County, no warnings there. But again, this is a very intense thunderstorm, watching as it tracks onto the south, and I haven't seen anything new there. I know Adam and Carrie looking at something, or are you just checking some stats over there? I couldn't quite tell.
We're trying to watch for Gale because it's 10 miles now from Gale where that circulation center is, and the tornado warning goes for another minute or two. Whether or not they're going to reissue a tornado or keep it severe thunderstorm remains to be seen. We're going to find out in the next minute or two on that, what the Midland Weather Service office will do on that. The last report we had was at 8:08. That's 7 minutes ago. We had that, what they call a twin tornado, two tornadoes that were reported near northwest, looking northwest from Farm to Market 1054. That would be in northern Borden County or southern Lynn. The warning, at least tornadic portion of the warning, has expired for Lynn County. That's the good news. We're seeing the most intense portion of the storm showing up, getting closer to Gale. So to me, Gale is the one of the last communities here that we're dealing with for this evening that would have that severe risk. And we still got to watch for Lamesa too, just in case that western edge, western flank out around Tahoka keeps getting stronger. And also stronger storms going up now Meadow between Lubbock and Brownfield that we'll have to watch. I'm going to loop that because it does show some motion to the east and maybe even a little drift northeast. There's that outflow boundary. Yeah. In that area, and we have an east wind now.
And that's going to be partly the reason why we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for some of that more northern development there for Lynn County that is now coming out. That's going to go till 8:45. Want to mention here real quick, because of some of the power outages as the storm is just kind of left in its wake, Wilson has announced that there will be a 2-hour delay to the start of school tomorrow while they deal with the power outages. So Wilson, kids, guess what? You don't have to go to school till 10 o'clock tomorrow.
That's good news for somebody. Yeah, good news. We're not just bringing bad news tonight, I guess. So good news for them. And also keep in mind that area had a lot of rain earlier too. So there's some flooding potential. There is a new warning that just came out. It's a severe thunderstorm warning for Lynn County. I'm trying to get that framed up and see if it'll pop up. It's not showing up exactly where I want it to yet, so we'll get it here in a second. It does show the tornado warning until 8:30 p.m. and we do have the severe thunderstorm warning that it's just not popped up yet. That goes in effect. Let me get the information off the printer because it came in already. Southeast Lynn County for that portion of the storm that's near Draw. Draw is still getting heavy rain, just so you know, between areas east of O'Donnell and southeast of Tahoka. There's also still a hail signature there. 70-mile-per-hour winds, though, are very common now across southern Lynn County as a result of that thunderstorm that's pushing into Borden. So we know, as Adam mentioned, we've had 60, 70-mile-an-hour winds in O'Donnell at the Mesonet site now for about an hour. So when you look at that continuously for over an hour, so they're issuing the warning on the basis of strong winds that will be over 70 miles per hour that will continue near O'Donnell and still considered a dangerous situation. 70-mile-per-hour winds or higher are still just as strong as an EF0 tornado or an EF1 tornado. So when you get into that level of wind, you're dealing with some damage to your trees, house, and homes, and you've already been dealing with a tornadic thunderstorm earlier tonight for those areas. So it would be easier to see damage after the severe weather you've already seen. Further south, the storm coming down now on Gale, moving south roughly 10 miles per hour. The tornado warning will continue until 8:30. That's another 12 minutes because of the two tornadoes that were spotted earlier this evening around 8 o'clock. And now we're getting reports in Tahoka, flooding along Highway 380 from Tahoka to Grassland, flooding on rural roads. We saw that with your pictures a little bit earlier. And Gale, we just want to let you guys know, because you're the last population center in our area that's being impacted by the potential tornado warning, that in that area you probably need to be at least preparing for this storm to move into your community. You're already under a severe thunderstorm warning until at least 8:45. Golf ball size hail or larger possible, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, but the tornadic portion of that storm is also to your north. We're just not seeing it on radar as well as we were earlier, and part of that is because we're over 50, 60 miles away from the radar site in Lubbock, and also 50, 60 miles away from or more from Midlands. So it may be impossible to actually see rotation on radar like we were seeing it when it was on the caprock a little bit earlier.
True there. And we're going to take a look at our tower cam just to show you the beauty that can go with severe weather here. I'll step back and look at it. Look at the clouds. We're looking at it obviously from Lubbock. Weather conditions here are great. We've had about 1/3 of an inch of rainfall. Some areas southwest Lubbock around Indiana 82nd had about 1/2 inch or more, just to bring you update. I know this is still a very serious storm, but just to take a little break here and show you how beautiful this can look from the backside with the sunset. Kind of gives you a great view, and obviously this is the core of the storm well to our south, approaching the Gale community. Could clip the Lamesa community, but Gale is our biggest concern there. Carrie's kind of rotating it around, show what a beautiful sunset we've got going for us. So great weather here in Lubbock. I know we did have the hail damage, and we'll have reports on that tonight and tomorrow and see how much really occurred because of the hail damage, but we've got a great sunset going for us. And then those showers and storms, by the way, that are firing up on the outflow boundary, keeping an eye on those around the Meadow area down to near Brownfield and Ropesville. We'll watch to see how those develop, and as they track off generally southwest. And again, I've got a quick update. Came in, I guess, about a minute ago. Severe thunderstorm still capable of producing a tornado located 10 miles east of O'Donnell, 16 miles northwest of Gale, nearly stationary, 16 miles northwest of Gale. Quick look at the First Bank and Trust camera if it's up, just to give you a different angle. Not much going on in Lubbock, but again, you can see the clouds in the distance with that storm down in the Borden and Dawson County area. So we're quite concerned about that storm back in that area. So we can come back to Doppler radar, remind you, still a tornado warning in effect for at least 10 more minutes. No indications yet of whether they will extend that or not. Obviously, it'll depend on what the radar radars indicating to the National Weather Service in Midland. It'll also indicate or be associated with any spotter reports of any funnels or anything such as that, or even potential tornadoes or wall clouds in that area. So as we look at that, the storm is tracking generally south. Here is your county line between Dawson County, and then here is Borden County. Heavy rainfall, southeast Lynn County, northwest areas of Borden County. That storm tracking down Highway 80 towards the community of Gale. The stronger part of the storm continues to be northwest, about 15 or 16 miles northwest from Gale. That's good news right now. If it stays on a south track, that'll keep the hail out of the Gale community, but it'll also pound some great farm and ranch land down in there, and there could be hail size at least 2 inches, maybe even larger than that, based on a Doppler radar. So again, that is a very large, still a dangerous thunderstorm. It's the one that produced those several tornado touchdowns earlier in Lynn County, anywhere from near Tahoka, O'Donnell, over to near Grassland and Draw. And if any of our viewers up in that area, if you have any photos and if it's safe enough for you to get out now, we appreciate those. We've been showing several tonight from our storm chasers, also from you viewers. So if you have any, you can post those on our main Facebook page, on my Facebook page, on Carrie Allen's Facebook page as well. In addition, you can send video and photos. Favorite program, but obviously we had tornadoes on the ground. There were a threat to Tahoka and O'Donnell, Grassland and Draw, and so that's our primary goal here, is to protect our viewers just like you and just like when the hail moved into Lubbock. So I know we've been on an extended period of time. We apologize for covering up your programming. On the other end, we're glad to protect all those folks around the South Plains. So we certainly appreciate you staying with us, and all of those reports you're updating with, whether it's on the email or even on Facebook pages, certainly appreciate that. But back to the storm, you can see it tracking onto the south. We're going to begin to see some rain, heavier rainfall move into Gale, some strong winds. Whether or not the large hail gets you to northern areas of Borden County, you will have some very strong winds, potentially large hail northwestern areas. Gale, you may get some very strong winds as well. As Adam's been reporting throughout the evening, winds have been easily in excess of 60 to 75 miles an hour in southern Lynn County. And I don't know if you've got any more reports on that, Adam, or not. He's operating the radar right now.
Yeah, give me just a second on that, John. I'll be able to tell you.
View here of the storm. I will mention storms popping up west of Tahoka, back to the north of Brownfield in Terry County, and that activity there, I'm going to watch for the direction because I'm seeing it as you're seeing it. Looks like it's going to track east or northeast, that stuff in Terry County, so that may move back into Lubbock County, believe it or not, based on the track of those storms. Now we can go back to the wind there, Adam.
Yeah, and first of all, to bring up the storms that are kind of developing more to the north. These are forming along a boundary that kind of stretches back up that way. You got to remember, these storms, they leave outflow boundaries in their wake. And I've been watching them. So far, they don't look nearly as intense as what we were seeing earlier. I mean, yeah, we're seeing some reds and yellows on radar, but they're not as tall of storms. We're not seeing the hail signatures out of them yet. We'll watch them. But at least right now, maybe just some good rain, which we'll never complain about. But we're talking about O'Donnell and those winds, still winds 49 miles an hour. Now, that's still pretty significant, especially when you factor in the fact they've been seeing, 50, 60, 70 mile an hour winds here for the last hour.
Well, that's the kind of winds I was mentioning will be moving out of Lynn County, potentially into parts of Borden County. They may not be as strong as 70 miles an hour, but obviously they could still be as strong as possibly up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. So again, watching this storm in general as it works its way to the south. We're obviously waiting to see what the Weather Service down in Midland, they're the ones that determine the warnings for Gale and Snyder and Lamesa and Seminole and even Lee County, New Mexico. But anywhere north of that, it's the National Weather Service in Lubbock. But here it is, storm getting very close to Lubbock. You may be getting some light rain, if not just the cloud cover, but maybe light rain edging into Gale. Then you'll get some moderate rainfall. And depending on the track of that, that will be the key to whether or not you get hail or very heavy rainfall or even strong winds at this point. So we're still watching for any distinct circulations. We get a little bit of an appendage maybe there, but again, hard to tell at this stage. I want to mention Lubbock, severe thunderstorm warning still for Lynn until 8:45. and that was because of the potential of those strong winds of 70 miles an hour, and maybe some maybe some 1-inch size hail, and that would really probably be associated with the storm here just developing, and you can see some hail there, and then the storm here along Highway 380 over towards Brownfield, some hail there. So the hail size, unfortunately, kind of increasing with that storm, kind of getting a little pulse and surge up at this point. Nothing to compare with what's going on down in Borden County as far as hail size, but a line of storms, and again, that's along the boundary both Adam and Carrie talking about, and that outflow boundary from the storm that originated here is now pushing on to the south and the southwest. A couple areas of storms back up around Childress, nothing significant there. Another little boundary here creating showers all the way over from Aspermont, or at least Stonewall County, into the Jayton community, and we'll wait and see if that comes up on Claremont. Yeah, a little bit of shower activity as well there. So again, this is just a long track of this storm. Been going since, I believe we started right around 5 o'clock, if I remember correctly there, Adam. So we've been on for a while there. This has been a slow moving storm, very intense, and looks like the storm continues to move to the south. Now, there's some indications from the Weather Service in Midland. The storm may be trying to cycle back up, but again, they go through cycles where they get stronger, and then they diminish some in intensity, then they may cycle again. It'll depend on the Weather Service whether or not they deem that enough of a danger to issue a tornado warning or not, but there is a flood warning still in effect for Lynn County. We were showing you those photos earlier, at least Adam was, of all the flood scenes in and around the farm to market roads between O'Donnell and Tahoka, Grassland, that area. So folks, as you travel late tonight, if you can travel tomorrow morning, it'd be better, first of all, but then you got to be aware of the flooding that's potentially going to cause you some problems getting school and stuff. Wilson, I believe, will be, is that right, 2 hours later?
2 hour delay. They'll start school tomorrow at 10.
All right, so I want to remind you of that as well. There is an aerial flood advisory for Borden and Dawson County, and you can figure out why. Primarily here, there's not really that much rain yet in Dawson County, but there is plenty of rain going on here in Borden County. There has been some heavy rain in northwest or northeastern areas of Dawson County, but most of your heavy rain is moving with this parent storm tracking down towards Highway 180 and the community of Gale, and again southwest of Post. Few showers in the areas of Garza County, and then that, so far, that is about it as far as what's going on. So the flooding and the hail, and the coverage area of the hail, by the way, seems to have decreased some. We'll wait for the next sweep and see what takes place on that, if it's really continuing that way. The Weather Service of Midland thinks it might be cycling up again, but just because it's cycling up doesn't necessarily mean it's going to form a tornado or a wall cloud. It may just mean that it's intensifying some, but usually around sunset, these begin to back off a little bit, so we're hoping for that. Hey guys.
I want to point out something, because I have this conversation a lot with people that, oh, hey, you know, you said we got this much rain and I didn't get a drop. Well, this is one of those cases where we were seeing lots of rain, seeing lots of pictures of flooding and everything else, but it's missing all the main stations. In fact, Tahoka is the only one that's above a ½ inch of the Mesonet station, and they have 5,600 7-inch. So this is one of those times where it always evens out, where everybody but the weather stations themselves are getting rain, except, and then next week, hey, you never know, maybe just the Mesonet stations get the rain.
Yeah, hopefully they have one of our rain gauges there, you know, or enter our contest.
We got a contest going on for that right now.
So next time they can win one.
The good news is probably this is settling down a little bit.
All right.
Compared to what it was earlier. There's still obviously concern for those in Gale and Borden County for that tornado warning in that region. And right now, it looks like they're just sticking with a severe thunderstorm warning. So at this point, we'll just let you know that we're probably going to take a break and hopefully not have to come back on air again until News Channel 11 at 10. If there's a tornado warning, of course, we're here. We're going to post a lot on social media. We thank you all for your pictures and videos. And we'll watch the Gale area. They did issue a tornado warning, by the way, just now, but that goes into effect until 9. It's going to be a tornado warning and a golf ball size hail risk, mainly near Gale over the next, just as soon as I said that, it'll be in the next 30 minutes, but there's still an area where they're watching in that region. Velocity is still showing a little bit, but not as intense as what was showing up a little bit earlier. And just to give you an idea, I'll put a velocity loop on there. that tornado warning did just come down, but it is not as much of a rapid rotation risk as what we were observing a little bit earlier. It is radar indicated as opposed to spotter indicated, and it is showing up 9 miles west of Gale, moving southeast roughly at about 10 miles per hour. Community would be Mesquite, which would be west of Gale. Close call for Gale. There is some circulation showing up. We can kind of see that on the velocity mode, but again, not nearly as pronounced. Of course, it dropped off the caprock, which is an indication we're not getting as good a velocity signature as we could if it were closer to Lubbock. But nonetheless, it is a large hail producer. And let's go ahead and just really quickly look at a storm track. We'll probably take a break anyway, just to get new information, kind of reload our weather systems, which have been going nonstop for 4 hours. And but that tornado warning and that portion of the storm is impacting areas right around or west of Gale, close to Highway 180. John?
All right, thank you, Kerry. And again, we will take a break, kind of reload, check out things. Just a quick mention, it looks like the larger hail hopefully will stay west and northwest of Gale, as Kerry is mentioning. And again, we are watching. We know there's a tornado warning issued there. Folks in Gale, just remain alert. If we get any reports, we will be back immediately to let you know here online, Facebook, and don't forget about our KCBD First Alert weather app. We'll let you know rapidly if anything serious develops with that. Same thing with the other storms. There's still some activity tracking up towards southern Lubbock County. You can see that. Northern Lynn County. These may become stronger storms, not necessarily tornadic, but they may produce some large hail. So we will take a break now. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll have some great video and information coming up in News Channel 11 at 10 as well. Appreciate our storm chasers Brian and Chad Casey and some others that provided video. And so we hope you'll stay with us.
I said to Jennifer right before you started, I was like, I feel like we're about to go on a roller coaster.
Yeah, I said, hold on tight.
I was like, here we are. And literally, it was like, okay, in the mentor session, we're like, we want this to feel cinematic.
I felt like I just went to the movies.